Shalom. Alright, first and foremost, before we get started, giving all praise and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, HaKadosh. Double honors once again, as always, and to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who rule well. Alright, they taught us the truth. Peace, much love, and salutation as always, and to those who elect. Alright, the brothers out here in Great Millstone, Nashville. Another Saturday, another camp lesson. All through the spirit and fire, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Lord's will. Okay, be edifying to the elect. What's the date? The 21st? Yeah, the 21st. Yep. So June 21st, 2025. Okay. And again, we out here prophesying, letting our people know, you so-called blacks, Native American Latinos, all right, that you are the chosen people according to the Bible, and pursuant to Romans 13 and 11, it is high time to wake out of sleep. All right, our salvation is there and we believe. All right, and just another weekend, you know, casual for us. We're just gonna go in and get into it, and really gonna get into the more. It's really prophecy, but the captivity that's promised to the heathens, man. Okay, because when it's said and done, the Israelites, all right, the nation of Israel under Yahweh Shai and King David, they will rule the planet Earth, all right, in righteousness. Somebody get real quick Psalm 2. Psalms 2 and 8. Yeah.
Psalms chapter 2, verse 7. I will declare the decree. The Lord has said unto me, Thou art my son, this day have I begotten thee.
Yeah, speaking and ultimately speaking to Yahweh Shai, but we're going to be joint heirs with Yahweh Shai. Go ahead.
Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance.
Yep.
And the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession.
Right. Ask of me, and I will give thee the heathen for thine inheritance. All right. So that's part of biblical prophecy. You know, the Israelites ruling over the heathen nations, and ultimately ruling over, first and foremost, Esau, Edom. All right, going back to Genesis, the 25th chapter, it speaks on what? The elder shall serve the younger. Who came out first? Esau. He came out all over like a hairy garment. Okay? And Jacob came out,
like
red like
a hairy as a baby.
Yeah, he didn't come out like Chewbacca. No, it was just a reference to like what not
red dyes.
But yeah, the dyes and shit.
But he ended up being hairy. Yeah. As he became an adult. We know that because when Jacob supplanted, you know, Isaac.
Used goat hair.
Yeah, he used the hair that Rebecca gave him.
Yep. Which was goats, which we're Israel's likened to the sheep. You know. Go ahead.
And then just a side note, it doesn't mean, oh, I got a hairy chest, I'm an Edomite, bro.
Yeah, right. Yeah. If you think that, then maybe you are. Shit, I don't know. Yeah. But, you know,
First of all, we're talking about a Sasquatch, man. We're talking about the wild man. That's what we're talking about.
This nigga's big.
As a man, you should have hair on your body.
Yeah.
It's part of being a man.
And it protects certain stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, beards, they liken that back during the familiar disease. Beards are pretty much your mask. Yeah. If you had a beard that kept away certain things. Eyelashes, they keep away dust from your eyes and shit like that. And yeah, Esau does the contrary of it.
Well, you'll get lice or something.
Yeah.
Well,
no, nigga, you got lice.
Yeah, we don't get lice.
Yeah, Jake don't, because Jake naturally has that oily, the oily skin.
And I believe Israelite foreigners, even though they may look like a heathen,
Yeah, they still have
their genetics.
Yeah, it's still, yep. It's never, you don't catch no foreigner with lice and those problems and shit
Jake
like
in
that.
every Israel.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
speaking off of the experience. in multiple categories, as you say.
Yeah, go ahead. Verse 8.
No, verse 9.
If anything, Jay get
Psalms 2 and
anything, Jay
9.
get dry scalp.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's it.
Were you talking about like dandruff?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that too.
Yeah, that's Jake.
I should be dry.
Eczema and shit.
Yeah.
And that's just curses.
Yeah.
All them shots that you got when you was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Psalms chapter 2, verse 9. Thou shalt break them with a rod of iron.
Yeah, thou shalt break them with a rod of iron.
Which I think I get that word.
Yeah, for what?
Rod of iron. I think it goes in a rigorous rule.
Yeah, okay.
I should have just read from the letter so I can.
Oh, you good, bro? Yeah, thou shalt rule them with a rod of iron. And again, that's going to be what she's going to get it. But yeah, rigorous rule. A hardcore rule. Hardcore bondage. Okay? You got it? They changed it? No. Dude, we'll read it again.
Yeah, because they used to. I could have
Let Job look it up.
I still got that word because it still says for rod. It says Shabbat, which shows that that's not Sabbath.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's Shabbath. That's something different. It says rod, staff, branch, offshoot, club, scepter, tri. Down here it says a stick for punishing.
A stick for punishing. Thou shalt rule them with a rod of iron. So we're going to be punishing the heathen nations, man. Okay? And again, it's all going to be in the righteousness, which we're going to get into. You got something, bro? Go ahead.
Psalm 149, and I'm going to start at verse 5. It says, let the saints be joyful in glory. Let them sing aloud upon their beds.
Who are the saints? The Israelites.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, go ahead.
Let the high praises of the Most High be in their mouth and the two-edged sword in their hand.
Mm-hmm.
To execute vengeance upon the heathen.
To execute vengeance upon the heathen. Okay? Now, we're going to hold, somebody can get, that nigga need to get judged. If somebody can get 2 Thessalonians 1 and 6. Yeah, you good, bro? 1 and 6, yeah. Go ahead.
It says, verse 7. Psalm 140, Psalm 149 and 7. To execute vengeance upon the heathen and punishments upon the people, to bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron.
Right, to bind their kings with chains and the nobles with fetters of iron. All right, again, these are the things that through Yahweh Bashim Ashai that the Israelites are going to be doing, all right, and conducting upon the heathen.
Not causing warfare.
Yeah.
Iron Dome.
It ain't gonna be nothing like that, man.
But they ain't gonna have the balls. They ain't gonna even have the knowledge of war. Because the nations will learn.
Right. And again, that's how another indicator showing that the true people, the true Israelites, are not in that land. Okay, today, because this is not taking place on the earth. Even though Esau has the earth in his subjection, but it's not this hardcore bondage. This is speaking about that 1,000-year period where we had the heathen, and then, after that, they get sent back to their lands. But no, we talking about the 1,000-year period of that hardcore bondage where these niggas gonna get fucked up continually. Okay, where that recompense is gonna be added to them.
Yeah. Because if that's the case, them over there, they call us Goyim.
Goyim.
Cattle.
If we're the Goyim, where in the fuck is the chains, the fetters of irons? Why is everybody not in captivity? Because we are in captivity, but it's not based off how the Israelites have put the other nations in captivity. We're in captivity via your social security card, these different numbers, your birth certificate.
Yep.
But we're not in captivity referring to the ancient ways, because this is when we in power, we're going back to the ancient ways, the old paths.
The word employee
goes
to slave.
Yeah. So That's what's going to happen. This is what this is talking about.
It talks about the same.
It says, to execute upon them the judgment written, this honor have all his saints, praise ye the Lord. So, you know, the saints are going to put the other nations into captivity. That's why it says in that Daniel that the kingdom's going to be taken, how's it go? It shall be taken with violence, basically. You know, the saints shall take the kingdom. That's what I want. The saints shall take the kingdom. The word take is something violent. It's going to be a violent overthrow.
Great.
Yep.
Seize. When we go into that word grape, it goes into the season.
Yeah.
Capture, if you will.
To take.
Yeah, we're going to, again, the saints shall take the kingdom. We're not going to act, there's not going to be a peace treaty to where we're signing paperwork and then we rule the earth. No, we're going to take through Yahweh Shema Shai, we're going to take the earth back.
Yeah.
Okay?
A processing.
And again, it's starting with Yahweh Shai, but ain't gonna be no 3 to 5 business days to where, all right, now the Israelites rule and Russia's over here chilling. No.
A background check.
Yeah. No, we ain't doing that. You got more on it?
No.
Okay. You got that?
Yeah. Revelations, since it's camp, we're going to start up.
13.
Not 19.
Oh, starting up where?
And this is where it starts talking about Yahweh Shai.
Oh, what?
Revelations chapter 19. I'm going to start at, you may start at 10 with the prophet.
Yeah.
Revelations 19 and verse 10.
Because this is the prophecy. We're speaking about things that are getting ready to happen. If you don't like the fact that captivity is going to happen to the heathens, well, you don't like the Bible. And that's just it. You're anti-Bible.
Yeah.
You're the hate group, nigga. Not us.
Yeah.
We're just bringing out what the Bible says.
Like that lesson I did yesterday, Salaki, it was on how this woman was saying, she was naming everything. She was like, he's like the Bible that pushes misogynistic, hates women, pushes grape, pushes this, pushes that. That Bible, because you're speaking about how people are against it. She was completely against the Bible on how it's supposed to be. But that's the point when I did that lesson. People just hate order and instruction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're not of Yahweh Shema Shai. Again, if you have any disgruntlement against what the scriptures say, well, the Lord's just not dealing with you.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Revelations chapter 19 verse 10. And I fell at his feet to worship him, Apostle John with an angel.
Yeah.
And he said unto me, see thou do it not. Don't do that.
Right. Get up.
I am thy fellow servant and of thy brethren that have the testimony of Yahweh Shai.
Mm-hmm.
Worship Yahweh. For the testimony of Yahweh Shai is the spirit of prophecy.
Right. The testimony of Yahweh Shai is the spirit of prophecy. And Yahweh Shai is all about coming back, redeeming his people, redeeming his elect, and then casting out judgment on the heathen, putting them into slavery. They're going to experience captivity. Because it says experience Nashville. They're going to experience captivity. Okay? The Lord is all about the judgment, man. Seeing it as a righteous thing with the Most High to recompense tribulation to them that trouble. 2 Thessalonians 1 and 6. All right? Again, if you don't agree with it, nobody gives a fuck. It's going to happen at the end of the day.
Can I get the ball?
Yeah, you come. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 11, and I saw heaven open.
Huh?
Break it all down.
No, read. Yeah, it's like
I'm just asking. Because
go.
So heaven open ain't, because heaven and hell is it's a misconception, man. It's talking about from the atmosphere, basically the sky. All right, he came out. Mm-hmm. It says, and behold, a white horse.
Yeah. Chariot. Fathership.
Right, which white is pure.
Pure, yeah.
Which is
Horse
why they're
power.
not white people. They're black people. In the sense of black meaning negative, void of light, evil.
Mm-hmm.
All right, the Edomites are really black.
Mm-hmm.
Because you look at Jake and they're really different shades of brown. From, dark, like a midnight dark chocolate, all the way to damn near white.
Sand.
Pale, which might have yellow tones, which yellow is a derivative of brown.
Yeah.
It said, and then horse is power.
Yep.
Like horsepower. And he that sat upon him was called faithful and true. And in righteousness he doth judge and make war.
They'll judge and make war. Go ahead.
His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns.
On his head were many crowns, signifying him coming back, okay, and taking over all these kingdoms. All these people that think that they have up next, you know, Russia thinks that they have up next once America gets out, China, you know, no. All your power is going to be given to Yahushua. On his head were many crowns. I own this shit. This is my shit. I'm going to do what I want with it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Again, if you want to fight with it, or if you don't agree, well, try to fight a member of the elect and see how far it gets you. You're going to lose limbs. You're going to lose your life. When it's all said and done, the Most High is getting ready to raise up his nation, man. Okay? Go ahead, bro.
Psalms 49:11.
Yep.
Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and the dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names.
Yeah, and they think that this place is going to continue forever, but that's not the case. All right, America will be destroyed, and that latter part, you know, shit, America in itself, named after Amerigo Vespucci. Okay, Africa, something Africanus. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? All these, they name certain countries and states and cities after their names. That's how they do.
Vagabond.
Yeah, they're a vagabond. Going back to Genesis. Okay? But again, they think that this place is going to continue, but it's not. America will be destroyed. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, and all you have to do is just wake up. Wake up and read the news, man. Wake up and
Smell the coffee.
Yeah, smell the coffee. Seriously, like the regular average citizen can see this shit, man.
Yeah.
You got niggas that have YouTube channels that they're in the world, but they're breaking it down.
They're calling out the small hats.
Yeah. Yep. And now, here it is. Now everybody is seeing the true villain.
Yeah.
I have never seen this much talk about the small hats in my life.
Not even supposed to.
There was a meme where it said if aliens came to the earth, what is one thing that you would ask them to do? A lot of niggas in the comments destroy that land.
Yeah.
Like a lot of them. These people people understand them niggas ain't it, bro.
Yeah.
They understand that they ain't the fucking people.
Ooh.
In the script, and you just now getting it, but the scriptures been told you.
We had the apostles.
And the apostles been told you that.
Right.
Yeah.
But this is real quick, 2nd Ezra 6.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Truth. Go ahead.
Say something.
Yeah, come.
Because
Got
you
proof
have
also.
Jake now that will say that slavery, you know, like the slave ships don't exist. And Esau allows that to just flourish on the internet.
Yeah.
That bugged out ideology, you know, slavery wasn't a thing like that, but then when you mention that the big H wasn't what they said, well now you're cut off, because they banned you saying shit like what they say, the big H deniers. That's banned in so
Germany.
Many countries,
Especially Germany.
a lot of countries.
Yeah.
And because why do you think especially in Germany is banned? Because they know.
I
Because
did
they know what the fuck is. Yeah, because you
know, nigga.
I did a video on that years ago, about 5 years ago, and they emailed me and told me that my video was banned in Germany and other countries overseas.
Yeah.
In Europe, over in Europe.
Some of our videos, when we even got on the familiar disease, it got banned in certain countries alone.
Yeah, but I'm talking about that because they know that shit is not actually what the elder Malcolm had brought it out.
Yeah.
There weren't even 6 million of those hats within Poland at that time, you know, because they do a census, which is also contrary to the law, because you're not supposed to number the people. But during that time of the census, during 38, 39, there weren't even 6 million small hats in that region. So how could it be? Oh, it was a big devastation, and then they try to soften you up, or they also threw in some Moes and some blacks and some disabled and shit.
Hitler didn't do that.
You know, that ain't got shit to do with that.
He didn't do that to
Go ahead, bro.
Because you mentioned Elder Malcolm.
Yeah.
Because that's honestly the main elder brother that I'd be watching. And he also mentioned how, the casualties of World War II was a whole shit ton of people, man. And nobody cares about that. They just care about that 6 million.
Yeah.
Everybody else, and it was a lot of civilians that died. Nobody cares. It's just the 6 million.
Yeah.
Which he also said, because he brought it out too, that I think it was a quote from somebody. If you want to know who rules the earth, and especially America, see who you can't criticize.
Yeah.
You can say shit about Mexicans, you can say shit about black people, Indians, Native Americans, anybody. But as soon as you mention a small hat, oh yeah, take him off.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, kill him.
He's anti-sim.
Yeah,
which is stupid. Nigga, we're the same.
God damn, like.
Yeah. There's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8.
Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wait, hold on. Am I tripping?
No, I think
4? Yeah, okay, yeah, 8. Yeah.
Might be having to do
But yeah. But yeah, 8. There's 8 nations that derive from Shem.
Yeah.
Which it would technically be anti-Shemitic. Okay? There's no Sim, you dumb nigga. But
right.
we are how are we anti? No, we're for our people. We're just letting you know, nigga, you a demon. That's it. There's no if, ands, ain't nothing next to it. Go ahead, bro.
This is we're speaking about how everybody knows about the small
hold
heads.
on, real quick. You got that?
Yeah.
Second answer. Well, what you got?
2 Thessalonians 2 and 3. Man of sin being revealed.
Go ahead.
That's how everybody knows about the small heads.
Yeah, go ahead.
2 Thessalonians 2 and 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall come, except there come a falling away, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition.
Read that again.
2 Thessalonians 2 and 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall come, except there shall come a falling away first, and that man of sin shall be revealed, the son of perdition.
Yeah, the falling away is when we fell away from Yahweh Shemal Shai, ultimately. Yeah. We fell away from the law, statutes, and commandments. Okay? And then, what it say, the son of perdition being revealed. So now we're in the modern times to where we know who that nigga is.
Yeah.
We can go into the Bible and identify who the wicked is.
Yeah.
Okay? Malachi, 4 and 1? Okay?
1 and 4.
Or
1 and 4. 1 and 4.
Salakia.
1 and
Salakia,
4.
always mix
4 and 1 is what's going to happen to him.
Yep, there you go. So Salakia. But yeah, 1 and 4. That's identifying who the wicked is.
Yep.
As well as where you at, what's that? Is it 2 and 10?
It's on down.
On down.
Yeah, if you keep reading on down
Down to
it
13.
speaks about that.
Yeah.
Okay? Pull that back up and we'll get into that. You got something?
I got a quick one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Isaiah 47 and verse
Unless you
3.
got something else, too.
I got
Okay, come.
Isaiah 47 and 3. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen.
Right.
Go
ahead.
I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man.
Yeah, I will not meet thee as a man. Showing that Yahweh Shai, when he returns, he's going to return as an angelic force.
After he was exposed.
Yeah. And yeah, after this nigga, the devil, okay, is exposed.
Not Satan.
Right.
We know who Satan is.
The
Everybody knows
spiritual demon Satan is not on the earth. Nor is he in an underrealm, under the earth, yeah, with a pitchfork, poking niggas in their ass. No, it's a spirit. Okay, he's an angel of the Lord. Okay, angel just means messenger. Does he not do that? Satan is righteous in his works.
Yeah.
He follows Yahweh Shemal Shai. The scriptures speak about the devils also believe and tremble.
Yeah.
It speaks about in the book of Job how he was at how the sons of God. I think it said the sons of God.
That council.
Yeah, the sons of God were at the table, and Satan was
he was in the
present
midst.
also.
Yeah, he was part of the council.
And the Lord asked him, where was he coming from?
Yeah, exactly. So he's not doing anything wrong per se. That don't mean go be Satanist. No, nigga. What I'm saying is he's not doing anything wrong as far as according to his life.
Yeah, because they teach that Satan is he might be a little bit stronger than the Lord, or he's against the Lord.
They teach him like he's a separate entity, or he's a separate entity from the Most High, and like he can do his own thing.
But where's that in the Bible though?
The will of the Lord.
Satan is sent Esau.
Yeah.
Because eventually he's going to dip. Like, all right, that's it.
And the physical Esau Edom, the so-called white man, is the physical counterpart of the spiritual demon Satan.
Yeah.
So when we say Satan's on the earth, we're talking about this nigga.
Yeah.
Look at this. But we talking about this nigga, okay? He's the one that's completely wicked. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, disclaimer. A
Yeah.
disclaimer. But wait, he's white. Don't come from the ball sack of Esau. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Race, according to the Bible, is by your father's lineage, not according to how you look.
Numbers 1 and 18.
You have black Edomites.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
Literally.
you said that, you might be one. You don't know.
I've met one before. A black
all met
Edomite.
one.
Yeah. Nigga in the game store. This nigga was
Yeah.
was through.
That dude,
you
that
ain't
dude
no
that I keep talking about, that dude that
Oh,
he's related
yeah.
to Thomas Jefferson. How he did
Yeah.
a triple.
Oh,
he did
yeah.
a,
no. Wait.
Thomas
You talking
Jefferson, the
You talking about
third.
George Washington's son?
No, Thomas Jefferson.
too?
Well, him
Yeah,
too.
him too, yeah. Okay,
But
I didn't
Thomas
know
Jefferson,
that.
he had a what was it? Hippie Saturday. But
Yeah, and this is why the Most High got to come back so he can destroy this shit.
yeah.
Because these niggas think that this shit is cute and it's cool. Fucking demonic ass shit, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, how about Shema Shah's getting ready to destroy you fucking niggas, man?
Yeah. Swiftly.
I forgot that one.
Quickly.
Yeah.
If you don't know what swiftly means, we'll tell you, nigga. It's quick.
Yeah.
Salaki, bro.
Forgot what- forgot what we
that
said.
shit pissed me off.
Forgot it's the end of the month.
Fucking faggots.
'Cause you mentioned it was they do that at the end of the month. It's the end of the month now.
6.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
But-
and it's the first day of the summer.
Yeah.
Because it's every 6 months or every 3 months on the sixth. Yeah, on the third. Yeah.
see how they tied in too? It's just a bunch of bullshit, man. This place gotta fucking go.
Yeah.
They got a pink city in fucking in the Holy Land.
And it's getting bombed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but niggas wanna cry. Oh, the children getting bombed in their sleep. Fuck them damn kids,
They had
man.
a
Rats.
hospital in Beersheba that got bombed.
But don't
Good.
the scriptures say
All
slay utterly
praises
old
to
and
the
young?
Most High, how about Shemal Shai for them kids getting bombed in that fucking hospital?
When you read
and the old
when you read the
niggas.
scriptures, you read about children dying and
Somebody-
the Lord coming through and destroying them.
Somebody said that dome might have like a week left.
Yep.
And that shit's just gonna
That's what I
start
heard,
pelting
yeah.
their ass.
Now they crying. They want Babylon to come help them.
Yeah, nah. And that's the thing.
It's time for
Real
you to
quick
get
too.
fucked up.
Isaiah 2, real quick.
We gotta get Lamentation.
Yeah. Because we ain't gonna need no fucking help when our kingdom is established. That's how we know that this ain't or that them ain't the fucking people, man. This is why the captivity is gonna happen to you motherfuckers, because you're a fucking gnat at a barbecue, nigga. You're annoying as fuck.
Get off the grill.
All you do is just annoy everybody.
Man.
You're always in the way. You're always in somebody's face,
Man,
and you can never get caught.
that annoying kid in class.
You can never get caught. You think you got the damn, oh shit, I ain't get him.
Or
You
it's
check
another
your
one.
hands, and yeah, then it's another one. It's your fucking buddy. Yeah, fucking mosquito, man. You niggas are gnats, bugs. You're a pestilence.
Yeah.
You're a disturbance.
A disease.
Yeah,
Parasite. That's
A
what
Yeah,
disease.
parasite. There you
Yeah.
go.
Iran saying.
That's what I meant to say.
Shit, a disease.
Parasites,
They
like-
bring forth
what
disease.
That's what Elam's saying.
Yeah.
Like, bro, we don't even want fucking war.
And then
y'all
they-
want. Y'all lying on them and shit.
Yeah.
Talking about some they got a weapon for this and that. They never
Yeah, for
wanted
like
to-
40 fucking years they've been lying.
Yeah.
about it.
Iran got the weapons, nigga. You are a weapon.
Yeah.
You're the fucking demonic being on the earth, walking in the flesh. Yeah.
I support
Because
that.
really, Iran, they gave us the least, they at least kind of up the
Yeah.
punishment. You know what I'm saying? You read about them letting us go and build the temple and all that shit. Then you other fucking nations.
We ain't worried about, man, look, Esau gonna get them that fucking shit, man.
Yeah.
That's it. The other 17, we ain't, or the other 16, Slaki, we ain't worried about them niggas. We gonna deal with them.
Especially Jack.
Yeah.
Jaffet
We were talking
gonna
about
get
Jaffet the other
break.
day.
Yeah,
You know,
But what Jaffet
they
did?
gonna get that bondage, but they gonna get a break. Cause when Turkey, Russia, Greeks, Germans, Spanish, Cyprus, like you don't hear about it.
Ham ain't been running since Pharaoh, so that
Yeah.
literally since Pharaoh. That
Yeah,
shit
them
ain't
niggas
gone.
through. Japheth, they've been in the background.
Yeah.
No,
Well, the
shit.
Yeah.
And so if you want to be technical, we would be anti, because outside of Israel, these niggas are bugging. But it's really not ironically.
Yeah.
Most importantly, it's the Edomite. So like,
Especially Amalek.
he said, "Not you."
Hey, Lord.
Go ahead, bro. You had that.
Yeah. This is Isaiah.
Isaiah 2, yep, go ahead.
Someone toss me
Well,
water.
can I?
Yeah.
Salaki, brother.
Go ahead, bro.
Before the Isaiah 2, because this the truth that's being published, so I gotta get this before, cause you.
Oh yeah, con.
Because it's gonna
that's the
tie
spirit.
into
Yep,
Isaiah 2.
Exactly.
So 2nd Ezra 6:28, as for faith, it shall flourish, corruption shall be overcome, and the truth,
Yep.
which has been so long without fruit, shall be declared.
Yeah, the truth is finally being declared now that that veil is being what it say? What is it?
Yeah, the cover cast.
Yeah. Yep. It's being uncovered. It's being taken away. Now people are seeing, like I mentioned in the Instagram comments and shit. Instagram's a safe space. If you want to go and talk some shit, that's a safe space to go. You know, you won't get banned there. But I'm not saying go and do that. But you said what?
Depending on what you say.
Yeah, depending on what you say. Wait, what guy?
That guy in front of you.
Oh, yeah, depending on what you say. But you know, for the most part, it's a safe space.
X is pretty safe too.
Yeah, that Instagram
X, they
and
don't care. You see people dying and all types of shit.
Yeah,
on there.
Reddit's
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, Reddit.
Hey, Reddit got serial killers on it, bro.
Yeah, it does.
Them niggas actually them niggas be crazy on there. Yeah, I just killed somebody. Like they just be commenting that shit.
Yeah.
Nigga like it.
Talking about it. Well, how'd you do it?
Right, yeah.
It's like, god damn.
It's like, bro, this is bugged out. There's demons on Reddit.
I can't talk about it. Here's my email.
Right.
Which that also shows that Esau is putting on a facade, man.
Yeah.
Because even when you look up like certain gore videos, we look at it, well, if you look at it, because you want to get more fear of the Lord. Because the Lord allowed whatever it was to happen to that individual. Whatever it was. You look at the comments, and Esau is getting off.
Yeah.
Oh, that was beautiful. Do it again. Like, what
Yeah.
the fuck is wrong with you,
Requesting
man?
it.
Yeah.
That
Requesting
shit was
this
bugged
shit.
out.
You got more?
Can I get the toe? Like, nigga,
Just through.
asking for
But then the next day he's at the Walmart. Have a good day. No,
But again, going to that scripture,
they're evil, man.
the truth is finally coming out about these people. Like I said, with the Instagram comments, people are seeing Amalek which is the grandson of Esau, okay, which is the prime enemy, the main enemy that we have. They're seeing them exactly for who they are. They're understanding and acknowledging those are not the people. Those are not God's chosen. They're not in any way, shape, or form righteous in any manner. Yo, nigga got a Jericho, not a Jericho, not even. You couldn't even afford one. But they got the curling iron, the weak ass, yeah. You don't fit any of the curses, man. All you have to do is read Deuteronomy 28 and see who fits those curses, and it's us. Yeah.
Known in the streets.
You can still do it.
And that doesn't apply to them. So the truth is coming out about these damn people, man. And mainly it's through, first and foremost, starting with the apostles and the elders, the elder bishops on down the Great Millstone. It started out with them, well, really going back to Abba Bivens, you know, High Priest Ariyah, King Masha, High Priest Yaquab, okay? Started out with the original what? The original four, man.
Original 7.
Well, yeah, it's 7, but I'm speaking about Yaquab, High Priest
Oh,
Yaquab,
yeah.
High Priest Ariyah, King Masha, and
7, 8.
or it's just them three. Peter, yeah, it's just them three, because Peter, James, and John. If you can receive it through the Spirit, you know. So yeah, those three, so like not 4. Okay. Well, I'm saying after. You had Abba Bivens, then High Priest Ariyah, King Masha, High Priest Yaquab, and through the Spirit again, Peter, James, and John. Which, you know, speaking as a man, but we don't have DNA. Go ahead, bro.
Abba Bivens,
which was Elijah. That is guaranteed and stamped.
Yeah.
He was Elijah. It ain't Nate.
No.
Okay, or any of you other dusty niggas on the earth. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, Abba Bivens, he's separated from a group called the Commandment Keepers, which was Israelites that kept the Old Testament. And he was the one that brought forth basically believing on the New Testament and on Yahweh Shai.
Right.
Which is the same thing that John the Baptist did.
Malachi, in the book of Malachi, spoke about that. Yep, the 4th chapter. What's that, 4 and 5, I think?
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's only like 6 verses in there. Verse 5 speaks about him sending, the Lord sending Elijah before that great and dreadful day of the Lord. And that was John the Baptist's role, and it's the same role that High Priest Abba Bivens had. You know, in the 60s, 69, roughly around that era. Okay.
Esau started to go down.
Exactly. That was the beginning of the downfall of Esau Edom. And now we're looking at the shit, not the peak. Well, yeah.
The dregs.
Yeah.
Peak,
We're
the
last leg of this shit. Yeah. You know. But go ahead, bro.
Isaiah,
we got that answer. So the truth is coming out. Go ahead, bro.
Isaiah 2:2, and it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountain.
Which that mountain goes into government. So like
Yeah, you go.
not actual mountain. Mount Everest? No, it's mountain goes into government.
Yeah.
We go ahead. It's like
Power.
Yeah, power.
And shall be exalted above the hills,
Which is a smaller government.
Yeah.
and all nations shall flow unto it.
All nations shall flow unto it. Okay. Now, can one say and argue that that's happening now? You could, but it's not on the level that when you keep reading, it's not on this level.
You shouldn't be talking shit about us in the kingdom.
Exactly.
Without getting. Well, yeah, we're not.
You know, because it's not happening on this level. It's not happening on this level. There's still backlash. Go ahead, bro.
Division.
Yeah.
Nobody's in unity.
Isaiah 2:3, and many people shall go and say, come ye, let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the God of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem.
Right, he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his path. That's not happening right now in that current landmass.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to the land of Israel for answers. Okay? And ultimately, again, the fact that they have to ask for help and assistance from other countries shows that you're not in a position of power.
Where's your God at?
What is the word? Let's see what the word power means.
If you're supposed to be so high and mighty, you're supposed to be the God's chosen. This is supposed to be the Holy Land. Well, where's the power at? Where's God at?
The word in the etymon for power, it says ability to act or do, strength, vigor, might, especially in battle, control, mastery, lordship, dominion, ability or right to command or control. Let's see. Legal power, authority, powerful. But that's not, one who has power. Person in authority or exercising great influence in a community. That's not really done here on the earth. Because you can say they have power in terms of what we were speaking about, how you can't talk about them and shit like that. But again, that's not really power. And it's carnal power. Do you have spiritual power attached to it?
Yeah.
Do you have the Most High working for you in any and every situation? When you go into the Bible and you read about certain accounts, the Israelites were backed by Yahweh Bashim al-Shai to the point to where the heathens were fearing.
Yeah.
You know? They were scared because, oh shit, no, that's the God of Israel.
Yeah.
We ain't fucking with them.
Yeah.
Al-Shaja, demon-like power.
Yep.
That's not attributed to those people over there. Them niggas don't have no power, man. Yeah, you don't. We ain't gonna need no dome.
Yeah.
First of all, I ain't gonna need no missiles in that.
Because it's gonna go into that. There ain't gonna be no warfare, and that's how you know these people ain't set up.
Animals ain't gonna be eating each other.
And these things are still. All signs point to this nigga being a fraud.
Where's most of the nation?
Like in Family Guy, big fat phony.
Yeah, big fat phony.
You know? And then where the hell is the rest of the nations or the tribes?
Well, remember that rabbi? He said the northern kingdom left and they're just not coming back. Where'd they go? Because they said that about the Mayans too. They said they just disappeared.
Well, Esau even says that about himself.
They're at your El Bracero, nigga. They're at your El Bracero, your Dos Margaritas.
Yeah.
They're there. Those are the Mayans.
against the demon. We got
That's a
Mayan
Mayan.
brother right here.
Central America.
Yeah, the brother right here.
Yeah.
Zebulon.
Yeah, right.
Damn, that's
Let me get this,
That's a
bro.
Mayan too. He's a demon. Go ahead, bro.
And then I'm gonna get this too, because where's David at? Because Amos 9.
Right. Well, never mind.
Amos 9. Oh God, no. I know. What
Yeah, right. We ain't gonna get into where David is.
This
Belly.
is
Just go
Man with the
ahead.
belly.
Just go ahead.
this is Amos 9:11. In that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof, and I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old, that they may possess the remnant of Edom and all the heathen which are called by my name, said the Lord, that do this.
Run it back.
Amos 9:11. In that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen.
Yeah, because the tabernacle of David has fallen, the house of David, but we're what? We're reestablishing it. Okay, and that's what the Lord is doing, all through the spirit of Yahweh Shemashai. He's reestablishing the house of David. He says, I will raise up the tabernacle of David as in the days of old. Go ahead. Because the house of David in the ancient, that was a powerhouse.
Yeah.
It was prestige. It was top tier. David and his men, his kingdom. You got to think that was a time where Israel was prospering, and then it carried forward, especially to when Solomon had ruled for his 40 years, because David ruled for 7 years and it was he ruled for 33 years, I believe, in Jerusalem, and then it was 7 years in
7 years in Hebron.
Hebron, that's what it is, the water. 7 years in Hebron, and I think it was 33 in Jerusalem or Israel, something like that. What shit, Jerusalem is the same. But yeah, see if you can find that real quick.
40 years.
Yeah, he did 40, but it was 7 in Hebron and 33, I think, in Jerusalem.
He was 33 years old when he began to reign. He reigned 40 years.
But it's split though.
No, that's why you do got to go here sometimes, because
Because
it gives you the answer.
Yeah, it gives you a direct answer. Real quick, Salaki, we just trying to fact check. Yeah, come.
Because when we read the Isaiah 2, which I'm pretty sure the brother's gonna go right back into that, it says the house, the Lord's house shall be established.
Yeah.
So the Lord's house is referring to the house of David. Because Solomon, he ain't coming back to rule. Ain't no wickedness gonna be within the nation of Israel. It's gonna be a righteous kingdom, and the most righteous kingdom was through the house of David. So I'm gonna worry back to you. That's gonna worry back to that.
Yeah, come. But yeah, it was 70 Hebron and 33 over Israel. But go ahead.
I'm worried back to the Isaiah 2. Let's move right back to that.
Yeah, read that again.
Amos 9:11.
Finish that last part.
So Amos 9:11, in that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof, and I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old.
As in the days of old, meaning what? What the scripture say, seek ye out the old path.
Yeah.
We're getting ready to go back to the ancient ways. We're going back to arranged marriages.
Yeah.
We're going back to, following the laws, keeping the customs.
Eating a certain way.
Yeah, eating a certain way. Habits, diet.
Yeah.
These things are getting ready to be changed, and the whole earth is going to be in subject to it. Go ahead.
No more freedom.
Yeah.
That's really not a good thing. Allowing people to do whatever they want. That's not a good thing. Freedom is not good.
And it says giving out a woman liberty to get abroad. And a lot of you niggas, most of you niggas are bitches. So you don't need no damn liberty, nigga.
Yeah.
You need order. You need instruction.
Rules.
What Thanos said? It needs correction.
Yeah. Because that's the problem with our
I'm the
people.
only one that knows.
Because when you follow the Bible, everyone claims they believe in the Bible and want to follow God, but don't want to hear the rules. But when the so-called white man has just alone a stop sign, you obey that with no problem. You're not screaming at the red light.
Yeah.
You're not screaming at the stop sign. But when it's like, oh, well, put down the pork, put down the rat, and it's like,
Yeah, they turn retarded.
yeah. It's like, bro,
That's
I thought you was pro God.
Yeah, nigga making that sound.
I thought you were pro the Messiah.
Yeah, like you said. And the thing is, people aren't. People
Rocket.
aren't.
Yeah.
they're not what's the word I'm looking for? Damn, they're not new to order, pretty much.
Yeah.
They just don't want the order of Yahweh Shema Shai because it doesn't fit with their lifestyle.
Yeah.
Because like you mentioned, they don't have a problem with following the stop sign, a red light, a green light, this traffic
paying your
sign,
taxes.
paying taxes,
Going
to work, following your boss's orders. They don't have a problem with that. It's just who's giving the command.
Yeah.
And then our people, they're so fucking stupid, they're so goddamn low and so fucking much of a goddamn degenerate.
I'll get that word.
To the point to where they see other men, and mainly, especially the men, because no woman should be teaching.
No.
But
they get it from men.
Yeah, but they see the men that look like them, same color. Nah, that nigga can't tell me what to do. Why? But another nigga can. If that nigga, if I was your boss at work versus you coming to the camp, what's the damn difference? Either way, you still gotta listen to what the fuck I'm telling you.
Yeah, they respect Esau.
Yeah, but it's because it's back at the job, whether it's a nigga or not, it's still backed by Esau's laws.
Yeah.
It's still backed by his commands.
Pay taxes.
Yeah, you pay tax, you do all this shit. You a inline nigga. You a good nigga.
Toby be good nigga.
Yeah, Toby be good nigga. That's what you niggas are, man.
Yeah, look,
You're a bunch of damn Tobys.
Yeah. Whether you can believe it or not, because even the way that you carry yourself, it ain't of our culture. They say it's the culture. Right now, the topic right now is niggas are mad that Mexicans are saying nigga. They're just mad at the wrong things. Yeah, who gives a...
Why are we big as hell arguing about a word?
They call niggas too.
But we big as hell. That's what it always stumps me at that point.
That's why we don't like black
big
people.
As adults.
One of many reasons.
Adults.
Yeah.
25 plus. Like, we should be over this.
Yeah.
We should be what they say in school? What that shit sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can never hurt me. Well, it hurt you niggas.
Yeah.
Then they got another phrase too for black people. Offended by everything and ashamed by nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. You offended by everything and ashamed. You're not ashamed of black culture. You're not ashamed of Cardi B.
Yeah.
And Megan Thee Stallion.
And look at the mockery that they're doing with AI. They're using AI right now in portraying how so-called black people act. Mukbanging, eating shrimp, crab, lobster, crashing in their Nissan Altimas, yelling, fighting. They're making fun of Keisha.
You niggas
AI created a so-called black woman in a bonnet, because that's how they see your ass. Black fatigue.
Just being fucking biased.
I seen a bitch the other day with a bonnet. The damn bonnet was down here.
Why?
The bonnet was down. Your
hair
hair
down
ain't
there.
even right. Yeah, the hair wasn't even down there. It was just baggage.
Your hair.
Why you? Yeah, no, it was. She didn't have the braids.
It was air.
It was just there.
It was just there.
If
She
that
probably-
bitch
she
took
probably-
flight, that shit would have been just flapping.
Just probably this
Why
much.
do you have that?
I got more hair than her.
If you got women, take their bonnets away. I'm joking. Don't
Only for the house.
Yeah.
Wearing out in
I'm
public.
joking, but stay away from the bonnets, man.
Yeah.
But go ahead. You had something? Or, yeah, looking like that. Damn elf hat.
Oh God.
The bell on there.
Yeah, look, hell
Go ahead, bro. You back in Isaiah?
Let's talk about the.
Oh yeah, finish that up.
Okay. It says, verse 12, Amos 9 and 12, that they may possess the remnant of Edom and all the heathen.
That they may possess the remnant of Edom and all the heathen. So, real quick, in case you didn't know, let's flip this sign. Let's see what we got. Let's just see. Outside of this top nation, that's Israel, right? Yasharallah, 12 tribes. Okay? So, what is it? Who did it say?
It says that they may possess the remnant of Edom.
The remnant of Edom,
And all
so the
the
so-called white race, and all the heathen. So here down, so the Indians, the Assyrians, the Syrians,
The actual Indians. The
right, because we had to understand too. Esau, especially when you get down to Japheth, they took over a lot of those regions.
Yeah.
You know, like Turkey, Russia, the Greeks, Germans, shit like that. Those aren't the actual people.
You can't base it off of where you're at.
Yeah,
that's not how that
it's just to generalize it, to give you more so of an understanding. But
Well,
Go ahead.
even when you get hooked in by the sign, we still examine your spirit.
Right.
Yeah.
Just because you're from Puerto Rico doesn't mean you're an Ephraimite. It doesn't mean you're a Jake at all.
Yeah.
You got Edomites there too.
Yeah.
So that don't mean shit. That's a landmass.
And even then, it don't even mean you're Ephraimite. You could be a Gadite in Puerto Rico, and you just raised in the culture.
What about Jake in Thailand?
Yeah.
Jake can be born and it can be a so-called Negro, but are you Taiwan? What do they say? Taiwan? Taiwanese. But that means you're Taiwanese.
Yeah.
No,
so
you just live in Thailand.
Just because you see, so somebody might come up, oh shit, I'm Arabian. That means I'm a heathen. No.
No.
If your spirit resonates with this, Romans 8 and
Arab
16.
means mixed in itself.
Yeah. But if your spirit resonates with this, like you said, Romans 8:16, then you are an Israelite. If you understand the truth, you're a J.
Acts 2 also.
That's a for sure way. Go ahead.
Remember Acts 2 talks about there were devout Jews out of every nation,
Yeah.
Arabians, Cretes,
Mm-hmm.
Elam. I think it said Elam. He had some Greek cities or tribes in it.
Yeah,
but they were Israelites.
Yeah, come.
So it's the same. Jack is everywhere. The Lord had to do that also too to preserve Israel. Because Esau went out like a madman. He's getting ready to come right back and do the same thing, but not to the elect.
Yeah.
Lord will, the elect just, get beheaded, not no torture or nothing like that. But if that happens, guess believe the Lord's gonna lift up that standard. So that's why we need the prophecy to happen too.
You're right.
The Lord gotta be glorified.
Yeah.
The prophecies to help glorify the Lord.
That's all it is.
This
is all about the glorification of Yahweh Bashim Shai. And this is how he does it. This is his movie. This is how he has it set up. He has it set up to where I'm gonna fuck all these niggas up at once. And I'm gonna showcase where this power is coming from. And when Yahweh Shai returns, everyone's gonna see this is of the heavens. This ain't Jesus.
What they say?
This ain't there's no fairy tale. No, this is real.
Yeah.
And even as we get further and further along with these prophecies, when we hearing these wars and rumors of wars, we're seeing Yahweh Bashim Shai working. We're watching it. And you people think that it's just a coincidence
And smiling.
or it's just, man, we just in some bad times. No, nigga, this ain't nothing.
We gonna bounce back like 08.
Yeah, no,
No,
this
you're
ain't
not.
This ain't
is
08,
not
bro.
anything compared to what we've been to what anybody have seen.
Yeah.
This is a time that's going to be like no other, and it's going to be back again. It's going to showcase the power of Yahweh Bashim Shai.
But how do you know things are? How do you know that things are gonna just bounce back? How do you know it's gonna bounce back? You can't say because it bounced back before. That's not a guaranteed thing. Let's expedite the Bible. Let's say that. How do you fully know that you're gonna bounce back to a greater society? Things are gonna get cheaper. Things are gonna flourish. You're gonna get better jobs. How do you know that's gonna happen? You don't.
They don't.
You don't know.
They don't have a goddamn clue at all. They have no idea whatsoever what's getting ready to befall upon.
You don't know what's gonna happen tonight or tomorrow when you wake up.
And the thing is, it's beautiful because the Lord, even though He's put it out there, hey, you ain't gonna see it, man. It's gonna catch you like it's gonna be like a thief in the night.
Somebody grab
Literally. It says it in the scriptures.
that. Someone grab that.
We're involved in that because we backdooring you.
Yeah.
So we know he's
Yeah,
pulling
really,
up.
yeah. We setting
We
niggas
got the
up.
door unlocked.
Yeah.
We already know.
Telling them
Through the spirit, through the spirit, we just
It's an
walking
inside
away.
job.
Yeah.
Inside
It's
job,
an inside job, man.
Yep.
Yeah, hey, we already know. We know what's going on. We know what's finna happen. And the thing is, though, it really ain't though because we let them know.
Oh, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? It is, but it's not because we let them know about it.
That's true.
You see what I'm saying?
No, you're right.
Everybody's been fully aware and fully disclosed to, hey, look, this shit's about to happen, bro.
You're drunk, though. Too busy scrolling.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why it says, watch ye and be sober. Sober-minded. Let's get that 1 Thessalonians 5. So we jumping everywhere. But it's all the spirit, man.
It's camp.
First,
And if you don't want to watch, then shit, don't.
Watch
Nigga.
it. Yeah.
We won't notice.
Right, yeah, right. When damn, Jerry left.
Yeah.
No, nigga, I don't care. Fuck Jerry.
Yeah.
And the Most High's gonna kill you and your mother. Go
The
ahead.
main point, right? Just get the main point.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, come on. Fuck these heathens. I did switch the sign though just to say, you know, the heathens gonna be destroyed. But go ahead.
So you want the main point, right?
Yeah, come.
All right, 1 Thessalonians
We'll get back to it.
5:3. For when they shall say peace and safety,
Mm-hmm.
then sudden destruction cometh upon them.
Wait, where are you at?
Is that what you wanted?
No, get the top.
I was gonna say you want the main point.
Oh yeah, no, Salaki.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't. I know where you were.
1 Thessalonians 5:1.
Yep.
It says, but of the times and of the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you.
You have no need that I write unto you. Meaning, we notice us amongst each other as Akim, we understand these things, but it's still, you know, it's beneficial for the body. Go ahead.
It says, for yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night.
Right, the day of the Lord cometh as a thief in the night. Okay, a thief does not let you know when he's going to come in and steal your shit.
Yeah, he ain't gonna call you.
Yeah. By the way, I'm gonna be there at 8:47, and I'm gonna rob your ass. No, he's just. That's the point of a thief. Get the word for thief in Edamon. Let's see what it says. Damn, that ain't it.
All right. Thief, noun. One who takes property from another by stealth.
By stealth. Okay.
That's like
Do we
crouching.
need? Do we need to look up stealth?
Everybody's played video games.
Yeah.
When
Stealth
you crouching
mode.
down.
Yeah.
When you make a little too much noise and do get a red arrow or
Yeah,
something on his
the
head.
exclamation mark.
Huh?
Yeah, then
Who's
niggas start
that?
looking around.
Metal Gear, Metal
Show
Gear
yourself.
Solid.
Yeah.
Hitman.
Yeah.
Hitman,
Assassin's
Spider-Man,
Creed.
Assassin's Creed.
Spider-Man.
Yep. Oh, shut up. Go ahead, bro. Shut up.
Says a robber.
A robber, yep. Which shit, Yahweh Shai's taking his kingdom back.
It says a thief takes other people's property without their knowledge.
Right.
A robber takes it openly.
Yeah,
So it's really, it's not a robber, it's a thief.
yeah. Without other people's knowledge. So even though we're telling people, they don't believe it. Going into that Romans 3 that we had held. You got it?
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, good. Real quick.
Romans 3:3. For what if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of the Most High without effect?
If I may add, that's the beauty of it. The Lord already knows that majority of the people on the earth are not going to be down with His word. He already knows that, because you got people that argue. They even had it with us. How are you supposed to make people believe? Well, we're not making people believe. It's the power of the Lord that's going to have you believe.
And two, to back you up, it says through the terror of the Lord we persuade.
Persuade.
So,
What's that word persuade mean?
Versus making is two different things. We ain't, like you said, brother, we ain't making anybody believe.
You got to be here.
Yeah, we persuading you. Your best bet is to believe what we're saying.
Yeah.
If you choose to go home and not believe a damn thing we're saying, that's on you.
If you want to believe in white Jesus, that faggot, I mean, that's your problem, you know. But the truth is out.
Exactly.
The truth has been out for so long where it debunks Christianity, it debunks the church, it debunks Cesare Borgia. Okay, it says there El Diablo, the devil.
Now,
okay,
what is that? That's ignorance.
Yeah, that's ignorance.
When you know and you heard of it, but you still continue to carry on in your ways. Well, now you're just ignorant.
Yeah, not my God.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, let's see how far you get. What is your God gonna do when you start seeing the missile?
Israel?
Yeah. Where's he at?
Yeah, where's Hashem?
Yeah, Hashem. Yeah,
Hashem should be busting caps right now.
Why is the Israelis and the small hats, if their God is so powerful, why are they running to Australia to hide?
Why they run to America?
Yeah, why they running to America? Why they running period?
Why you need Babylon to help?
Why you need help? You know?
Yep.
Because y'all follow these because you follow these fake ass gods that have never, as the scriptures say, they never eaten, they never smelled, they never tasted, they never took a journey, they never took a walk. Jesus never took a walk. Muhammad never took a walk. Y'all never took a walk. Well,
Muhammad took a walk, but he couldn't read while he walked. He couldn't read at all.
Yeah, because Muhammad.
Or write, he couldn't write.
Yeah, right. Nigga apparently was stupid
And he
was a boy.
liked boys.
Yeah.
Well, y'all still a different God.
Yeah, well, still, yeah.
Say his fucking, not
Because it could be
say
Yahweh.
his
It could be
name,
talking about
bro.
Yahweh.
Yeah, Yahweh, Yahuwah.
Most niggas when they say that,
Yeah,
they're talking about Yahweh.
They're talking about Yahweh, which Yahweh never walked the earth.
Yeah.
How many times you niggas? Where do you get the name from? If you go into the Hebrew, well, he was a Hebrew. Well, when you go into that word Yahuwah, that doesn't make any sense. There's no you in the Hebrew. That's that Yiddish bullshit that you're following for the white man. Again, following after the white man again.
Small hat behavior.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, bro.
It says, verse 4, God forbid, let the Most High be true, but every man a liar.
Yep.
As it is written, that thou mightest be justified in thy sayings, and mightest overcome when thou judge.
Yep. What's it? Let the Most High be true, but every man a liar.
Yeah.
Now go back to that.
First Thessalonians
Yep.
5 and
3.
all right, First Thessalonians 5 and 3. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape.
Yeah. So that peace and safety, and that's constantly being pushed. You know, they're telling you not to worry about it. We gonna get it handled. We gonna get it fixed. This too shall pass. No. Then that sudden destruction is gonna come, and that's why in the Sirach 5 and 7 it says, "Make no tarrying to turn to the Lord, and put not off from day to day." You good, brother? Okay. Because in thy security, thou shalt be punished. You know, or destroyed.
But yeah, that's
You know.
talking about that security.
Yeah, Sirach 5 and 7. Yep. You know, we're not going to come out and tell you peace and safety. We're not going to be like or be what you want, like that says in Isaiah 30.
Yeah.
Which say to the seers, prophesy, prophesy to a smooth things,
Yeah.
prophesy deceits. They literally want you to lie to them.
Yeah.
That's why the Jake buys all that shit. They
Ooh.
buy all the gimmicks. Get the word for gimmick.
That scripture
Real
in
quick.
2 Thessalonians, I think 2:11, the Lord has given them that strong delusion that they shall believe a lie.
Yeah.
So Jake wants to believe the lie.
bought into it.
I want to hear the lie. I don't want to hear the truth. I want to hear a lie. Tell me that Jesus is okay to follow and I can do whatever I want, eat pork. You know, I could be this, I could be that. I want to hear that. But now when it's time to hear rules, that's why they don't want to follow the true God of the Bible. That's why I said I did that lesson yesterday with that woman.
Yeah.
When she was saying, so you're supposed to follow this hateful book where it stones children. You just treat women as property.
That's judgment.
That's
Condone slavery.
you condone slavery,
But
which
that's-
slavery has always been a fucking thing.
But that's judgment.
Yeah,
Talking about it stones children. The nigga ain't right.
yeah,
And on top of that, that's how you prevent your Jeffrey Dahmers.
yeah.
That's how you prevent your Ted Bundys. That's how you prevent your school shooters.
But it also shows,
These
yeah.
niggas ain't been getting judged, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
Because the law is slacked.
Yep, I was just thinking that. Yep. And that could
The
work
law
too.
is slacked. So
Yeah.
don't come to us and point the finger like the book is the problem. Y'all niggas are the problem. If you
Yeah.
follow the book, and then on top of that, that's why it was always what? It was public.
Yeah.
Because now we have an example. This ain't the way to go.
Because look how it is in the court system. Little Johnny, little Tyrone killed like 5 people. And you got the mama and the auntie
he's
and
a
the
minor.
grandma.
Man, don't
He's
put that nigga to
17.
death, man.
He's 17. This nigga just so he wasn't too young to go buy that AK and spray the block. He wasn't too young for that. That's a grown ass.
Yeah,
That's a
bro.
grown ass adult
Yeah, he's a
thing
minor.
to do.
The nigga's 15 commit crimes. He's a minor. Or you gonna charge him as a minor. That nigga is an adult. He's doing adult shit.
Yeah,
He needs to be charged as an adult.
yeah,
And it's only in certain scenarios where they charge the certain individuals as an adult.
yeah.
If they go and kill their parents or some shit, we're gonna charge them as an adult. But again, the law is slack. These people ain't be doing this shit. Cause some niggas are cool with just going and sitting in prison. Free food, housing.
Yeah.
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 They're cool with that. But that shouldn't be a thing. No. That nigga needs to be judged according to what he's done.
Yeah.
Now, robbing and shit like that, okay. Understandable, cool. Even
Poor,
right, but yeah, if he's poor, that's different. That's why you left certain of your
But
crops
a lot
out.
of times it's not the case.
Yeah,
No,
nowadays
no.
it's not. No.
The nigga just
He
be
ain't
stealing
hungry
for
at
no
all.
fucking reason.
Yeah.
But if the nigga if he's a killer and he's doing shit, things that are pertainable to death according to the law,
Yeah.
then that needs to happen.
There's sins that are worthy
Exactly.
of death.
So that's it.
Yeah.
That's why certain prisons, especially, they find out that you were touching kids, they
Yeah.
probably stab you in prison.
Yeah, they
Gotta
fuck
kill
your
you.
ass up.
Once they find out what you did and why you're there, they gonna body you in there.
That's
Like-
what got Big Jeff.
Yeah.
That nigga was through.
I was gonna say, yeah, with Jeffrey Dahmer,
Yeah, that nigga-
because once they were hearing about it, one dude came up to him, which was the spirit. The Lord put a spirit on that dude. He said,
creative vengeance.
Yeah, he said, you're a dead man, Dahmer.
Yeah.
Because all the wickedness he done, things he's done, and what he done to Jake. Because most of the victims were so-called black men.
Right, which shouldn't be doing that shit any goddamn way.
He was a
exactly,
Mo.
that was judgment.
Yeah, that was
Because
judgment.
You shouldn't be no fucking Mo.
Gay club, he's
The
a...
first dude.
Yeah, the first dude was the only one.
The first dude wasn't
that,
a Mo.
Yeah, he wasn't a Mo, and that was just
He was trying to make
that
some-
was judgment in itself too.
Yeah.
But you know,
You don't trust
that's
him.
the only one that you can really argue in case of he ain't really
Because he was trying to tell him, because Jake was, you know how Jake be. Jake was trying to get some extra money. He was bribing him like, hey, I got some money for you. Take some pictures, and I'll let you be out your way. Jake was like, oh, money, okay, cool, whatever, money. Yeah.
Well, no, those pictures were sexual. That was sexual.
Oh, they were sexual pictures?
The first dude. He didn't take no pictures.
Yeah,
No, and then he lured him for that though. He was saying like he was telling him, wasn't he bribing him, saying like, hey,
Nah,
the first dude wasn't no picture.
he was supposed to take him. He was taking Jeff to some place, to some concert or some shit. And
oh, okay, I gotta watch it
it
again.
just-
Just lifting weights with him.
Yeah, but then the nigga just ended up killing him because Jeffrey made that move on him.
Yeah.
And dude was like, I ain't with that shit.
Yeah.
So-
Okay, now I remember now. He was trying to.
Everybody else that's how he was going to the Mo bars and learning about, hey, just come back to the crib, take some pictures, and then next thing you know, the nigga's in the bin or in his freezer.
Yeah.
Weird shit. Again, and there was because when you watch that show, it taps into which shows ain't 100%, but
Acting. Sometimes it be extra.
it all starts in childhood, man.
Yeah.
And if that nigga had got corrected at childhood, that shit wouldn't have happened.
Yeah. Because his dad was bugged out. His dad was like, why are you acting?
Oh, yeah, stone.
Because his dad
If
was
you had-
freaking out. Yeah,
that's in the
Salaki.
law, Salaki. That's in the law. If you have an unruly child, you bring him before the elders and the priests. If he ain't gonna listen to them, shit, stone his ass.
Yeah.
In front of the nation.
And make another kid.
Like you said, because that instills fear into everybody else.
Yeah.
And then that's why in front of the nation, your kids see that shit.
Yeah.
Now when you walking back to the crib, you see what happened to that nigga?
Start walking them distance.
Yeah. Then get back, you just you get to scrubbing. And install fear is the biggest motivator. And exactly, that's power. And that's why the Most High has these laws set up.
Yeah.
It installs fear in you. And that's what is that? The beginning of knowledge.
Yeah,
the beginning of
knowledge.
wisdom.
Yep.
If you fear the Lord, you're not gonna do this extraordinary shit, bro.
Yeah.
Go ahead, bro. You was saying something.
I was gonna say that's why in the New Testament it mentions how we're judges. We gotta judge the smallest matters.
Right.
We gotta examine every matter, because we see certain things happen and we're always quick to say it's judgment. But then you look at Cain and Abel.
Mm-hmm.
What did Abel do?
Killed his brother.
There's actual not everybody that gets.
Oh,
that
no.
get,
Oh, you said what the Abel is like.
no, I'm saying what did he do to get that?
Yeah, my bad.
Because when you have wickedness, because we know the Lord controls both sides, and we're not going to look at it bugged out. Oh, the Lord did evil. No, this is His movie.
You're right.
But there are people you see that it doesn't automatically mean, yeah, he was just a wicked, evil guy. No, he literally could have just got murdered.
Yeah.
Because murder is running rampant
Yeah.
everywhere. Because Esau rules the earth.
Yeah.
So that's why you need people that are set up to actually call some shots. Like, this shit is wrong.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to do something about this.
Enforce it.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people won't do because they say, well, God can, He's the only one that can judge. Well, if you base it off of a Christian, what is the Christian God doing on the earth? The Christian God ain't doing shit.
What
He's
is he-
not judging a goddamn thing.
I was gonna say, what is he judging?
So the Lord, the real Lord, Yahweh B'Shem El Shai, set up His men to judge all these matters.
Yeah.
Which is why, because we always examine the spirit. You might meet a Jake or something. You're like, Lord, won't he get delivered? He was he could be, he could be part of the 1/3. Then you see certain guys, you're like, man, the Lord gonna kill his ass.
Yeah.
That's judging a matter. A lot of you people don't fucking do that because you're weak-minded.
Yeah.
Somebody gotta step up and do something,
Can
man.
we all just get along?
Who's gonna, like it says in Psalms, who's gonna rise up against the evildoers?
Right. And that's the elect.
And that's why we have, the elect, which is the governing body. That's the government.
Yep.
We're not afraid to tell people that you deserve death, man.
Yeah.
Because that's just it. If you're going off against the Most High's law, you deserve death.
That's why we throw
Will-
curse on
willingly.
certain people.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
That's
yeah.
a judgment. You looked at this dude and he did certain shit and you're like, you know what, that's enough.
Yeah,
Shalak
exactly.
Rayam to his fucking
Exactly.
ass, man.
Yeah.
And we don't feel no remorse. I sleep better after that.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact,
His ass gonna be gone.
I sleep better after that. So that's why we throw curses on niggers.
They die that night, that month, next year. It don't matter. You're gonna end up getting.
We throw curses on Esau. We throw curses on the wicked of our people.
Yep.
Okay.
Every day.
And blessings. And we bless brothers.
And yeah, we bless the Akim and a few sisters. Outside of that, man, go to hell, man.
Yeah.
Burn in hell.
Even though it's not real.
Yeah, it ain't real.
Don't you just say that hell ain't real?
Right. Nigga, if you say that, you're blocked.
Burning in hell is being in America and getting hit with that missile.
Right.
That's burning in hell.
Go ahead, bro. You had something?
Yeah, because I told ChatGPT, I said the Most High requires fear over love, and it agreed. And it says fear isn't just trembling; it's about respecting His holiness and authority.
Right.
When that's established, love becomes genuine rather than emotional.
Yeah.
Right. Love becomes genuine rather than emotional. When you fear someone or fear something, that love is automatically attached to it. We love Yahweh Shema Shai because we fear the Lord and what He will do to us if we continuously go off. You know, you gotta have both.
Before we didn't know.
Yeah.
So Jake will order, pepperoni pizza like it's nothing. Like
We didn't know.
And still say you love God.
Yeah.
But you gonna do that now?
Yeah, right.
Fuck
No.
no. Chris Brown. Fuck no.
Got beef,
Hell no.
got beef pepperoni or something.
Yeah. Or just get cheese, nigga.
Or just don't eat it at all.
Or just don't get a pizza. Find
Yeah,
something else.
yeah.
You know?
Get some fruit in your system.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I got.
You
I got a
got more
little
than
bit
that.
more.
Yeah, come
It
on.
also says it provided some scriptures like Proverbs 9 and 10. The fear of the Lord Yahweh is the beginning of wisdom. It didn't say the love of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom.
Yeah, because that's again, you can only love the Lord through fearing Him.
Right.
If you don't fear the Lord, then you genuinely don't love Him.
Yeah.
So you Christians walking around, yeah, I love the Lord. That song, I love God. Do you don't love God? What's wrong with you? Nicky, you don't love God, so shut up.
Yeah.
You don't even know His name.
You're still eating shrimp.
How do you love somebody that you don't know their name?
And you don't want to.
Yep.
And yeah, you don't want to acknowledge the name. It's just translation.
Yeah.
If you treat the Most High's name like that and His Son's name like that, then you don't love the Lord, and the Most High is going to
The
destroy
real
you.
question is, does He love you? Because
Yeah.
He didn't want to give you His name.
Right. That means you're hated.
And that's
Because the Most High hates.
yeah.
The Most High hates. So if
Proverbs
you're
6.
not giving the name of the Lord and you don't stick to it, the Most High hates you.
If your name's Kevin, but someone keeps calling you Simon, wouldn't you get upset? When someone keeps calling, my name's not Simon, it's Kevin.
It's male.
Yeah, it's ma'am.
You know?
And
Go ahead.
just like, which it's, wicked and, carnal, not to be a lion in your own household.
Yeah.
But when men beat women, and then you try to figure out, well, why is the woman staying? Because she fears them.
Yeah,
she
she's
don't
scared.
want to leave.
Yeah.
And then that gets her to stay. And then, you, like I was saying, you always try to figure out why the woman is, like, he's beating the shit out of you. Why are you still staying? Because she fears him.
Yeah.
Which is wicked and it's carnal.
I'm about to say, don't mean
Don't
go
do
beat
that.
women.
Yeah.
But it's the same
Nobody said
aspect.
that.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Nobody
in the
said
same
if you got that
aspect.
from this, and you're a dumbass.
But it's in the same aspect of
Lord gonna
we
beat you.
fear the Lord, so
Right.
we're going to stay with the Lord, and then with us fearing the Lord, it brings love.
Yeah.
It brings genuine love, man.
Yeah.
It's more so on the aspect of we will be beat
Right.
if we don't, right,
Exactly,
if we
because we
don't
know.
agree. Or not agree, but if we don't follow suit.
Because don't the
Go ahead.
scriptures say, Salakia, Proverbs 27, rebuke is better. Rebuke is
Open rebuke.
open rebuke is better than secret love.
Yeah.
Because really, when you're getting on somebody and you're correcting them, it's love. But Jake sees that as hate. That's a problem. Why you getting on me? Why you jacking my style? Nigga, no one's jacking your style. Nigga, fuck your style. Nobody even knows you or like you. You know, it's just, nigga, there's rules when it's rules to, they say, there's rules to this shit. You know?
If you're not open to correction, then you just ain't gonna make it, bro.
Yep.
Because the elect are gonna be pure gold, and purified in that day. And it's gonna come through correction. It's gonna come through being told about yourself.
Being uncomfortable.
Yeah, being uncomfortable.
Going to be
If you're
uncomfortable.
not open to those things, then you're just not built. And that's just it. And it's not a personal thing. And one, I can't say that, you can, but you can't. But I'm not saying, oh yeah, I'm better than this. No, genuinely, you're just not built. Go
It
ahead.
says in Hebrews 12, when it speaks about, basically being chastised, not only does it say chastised, it says if you endure chastening, then God deal with you as with sons.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you go through a car problem and you don't get out of it, you're like, man, F the camp, man.
That's
The
weird.
Lord, you're not a son. You're a bastard. The Lord ain't dealing with you. Because like the
Over a
brother
car,
mentioned, no
nigga?
matter what the hell goes down in these latter days, I think, what is that, 1 Corinthians 10 and 13? The Lord is not going to put you in a situation that you're not going to be able to handle. When you feel like, man, this is too much, it's enough. It's right where you need
It's
to
the
be.
perfect amount.
You're at the amount where you're not going to bug out, but you're fucking fed the hell up with what's going on.
Get
Yeah.
a bottle and shit, get back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, or pray. Pray, yeah.
Because
Pray, then go get the bottle.
when it says in Sirach 2, when it says when it comes to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation, the things that one of the top many key things that Christians fail to realize that they don't tell you that you're going to catch hell. They don't teach you challenges. They don't tell you to overcome your challenges. They don't tell you to
teach
endure.
prosperity.
Yeah,
The
prosperity.
easy path.
You know, they just tell you that love God and dancing and woohoo, foaming at the mouth, and then you can do whatever the hell you want, and that's not in the Bible at all.
Go
I got
ahead.
one more.
Yep.
It says, love without obedience is fake, and obedience begins with fear.
Yeah.
It says, why fear over love? Fear protects the soul from straying. It teaches submission even when emotions fail. It anchors love in action, not feelings.
Yeah. Anchors love and what did it say? Love and action.
In actions, not feelings.
Right. And the thing is, because you can feel a certain way when a certain judgment comes down, but that fear is still going to keep you in tune.
Yeah.
You might not agree with the judgment that came down from, your heads or whatever. You might not agree with that counsel. But if you fear the Lord, you're going to understand, hey, this is necessary.
Yeah.
And this is what I need.
Yeah.
Don't say nothing.
Yeah, and exactly. You damn sure ain't going to say nothing.
Especially if you believe that these are men of the Lord.
Yeah. That'd be the thing. Niggas be joining camps, coming to camps. Who comes to the camp with the mindset of these ain't men of the Lord, but I'ma still be here?
That doesn't make any sense.
That's dumb as fuck. So if you come to a camp, if you try it or not trying
A
to,
lot of people have said that, though.
yeah,
They said nobody got the 100% truth.
yeah. Well then, nigga, why are we here?
Yeah.
No, if I'm going to you good. If I'm going to an organization, I'm going to believe they're the 100% truth. Yeah, I'm invested, and I believe that these are men of the Lord. So anything that they're saying, I'm gonna take full 100%.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna just that brother just tripping. No, nigga, you tripping.
That shows you lack faith too.
Yeah, exactly.
Because even with these other Israelite camps, well, not other Israelite camps, but these guys out there that be like, oh no, there ain't no such thing as camps. I don't believe in camps. Well, how the hell are you gonna get the word? You're just gonna be sitting in your room with Doritos? The Lord is not dealing with Dorito eating, computer typing all day ass nigga. He's just not, bro.
Video I sent in the
Why
chat.
can't I be something that you got?
Why gotta go to the camp, man? Why gotta be out? Well, when you read the scriptures, Yahweh Shai himself, the 12, that was a camp. Camps have always been a thing.
Yeah.
That's always been like that. So all these stories you hear about Jeremiah and Isaiah and all that, well, these men were doing the work and they were in camps the whole time. So that argument is a facade. It's false. It doesn't make any sense. You just a lazy nigga.
Yeah.
I'm tired of lazy niggas. We're all tired of you lazy ass Israelites, man. That's all what it is. Lazy ass Israelites.
Just to finish it off.
Yeah, come.
It says, the Most High requires fear before love, not because he doesn't want love, but because without fear, love has no backbone. Fear leads to obedience. Obedience proves love. And that's the kind of relationship Yahweh desires.
Yeah, what did it say? To obey is better than sacrifice.
Yeah, exactly.
In Samuel's, 1 Samuel,
Yep.
you know. So the Most High requires obedience, and that's all He wants. He don't want you to come to Him. I love you, Lord, man. Fuck that. What you gonna listen to what I'm saying or not?
You doing the work?
Yeah. What are you doing to show? Faith without works is dead.
Yep.
Abraham,
Right.
when the Most High told him to sacrifice his son.
Yeah.
He just did it.
That's
Because
fear.
within that story, you really think that Abraham wasn't? That's his son.
Yeah.
That's his
a
actual
lie.
seed. He made this damn. He made not this damn Salaki, but he made this child, and now he's being told by the Heavenly Father that he has to sacrifice
And the
him.
Heavenly Father told him that he would it would go through him.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. The promise gonna go through him, but kill him.
Like, whoa, what?
That's faith.
Yeah. That the Most
That's
High
faith
would
that the Most High
reconcile.
gonna either bring him back
Yeah.
right then and there,
Yeah.
or he gonna provide a way somehow, some way.
Yeah.
And it also shows that he knew that the Lord doesn't contradict himself.
Right.
Because we know that the law was oral, and it says thou shalt not murder.
Right.
Yeah.
Which
So-
that's what that would have been. Because human sacrifice isn't in the scriptures. In the sense of a righteous meaning.
Right.
But he was going to do it. And that, because, I mean, we all have, I guarantee you every brother here has came across a scripture, especially early on, where it's like, well, that kind of sounds like it goes against what I've been learning. And you're like, nah, it definitely, because we know the scriptures don't contradict themselves.
No, they don't.
And then eventually, because sometimes it takes years. Then you hear the scripture again, and it gets broken down, and now it makes sense.
Yeah.
Like how the Lord hates Esau, for example. And then there's a scripture in the Apocrypha saying that he doesn't hate any of his creation, or he doesn't destroy any of his, he doesn't have pleasure in destroying his creation. You got to understand what it's talking about.
Yeah.
Okay? Especially what it's talking about is Israel.
Yeah.
Right. Yo, he hates
The Lord, the scriptures never contradict, and that's one thing we always say with Christians, because they say everybody can get saved. We brought out a scripture saying that the people you're saying can get saved. The Lord said this is spit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how the fuck does that work?
Why is he not
that
saving
means that
the bombing?
That means either the scriptures contradict themselves or you're wrong.
Yeah.
And we know which one it is.
Yeah.
Do you?
You're wrong.
But most people don't have the balls to admit that they're wrong.
Why is the Lord not saving nobody in the Middle East? Where's the help? Where's the help? Where's the outcry? Where's the help?
Where's Hashem?
Where's Hashem? Niggas just getting bombed. Niggas just
He's
blowing
still
up.
trying to figure out his name.
You know? Where's the deliverance? Isn't it supposed to be a deliverance?
Yeah.
Where's that at?
You got the DMV.
You know? Because we know we in the scriptures, when all hell starts to break loose, the Lord's also going to start delivering too. Yeah, we're going to see people dying, but we're also going to see the Lord delivering too. You're going to see both. Because the scriptures say, Yahweh Shemel Shai is not a man that shall not lie. So when the Lord said, I'm going to deliver Israelites, the elect, and I'm also going to fuck people up, I'm going to do both.
But it's not even sure.
And then also the ultimate show of obedience with Yahweh Shai.
Yeah.
Yahweh Shai knew that
We
the
say
Heavenly
that
Father said he was going to get put on the cross.
Yeah.
But he still showed that fear and still going through that struggle. Man.
And you know he was also still in the flesh because he was praying to the Lord like, if it's your will. Because he really wouldn't want to. His last
Who wants
days
to
were
go
heavy. Yeah.
Be a fucking
Then he said,
lunatic.
why is thou forsaken?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine you find out, and it's a fact. Imagine you find out, let's say you find out today that you're gonna die next week. That's gonna be a lot on you.
33 years from now, you're going to get crucified and have
Yeah.
a torturous death. And I need you to teach my word today.
Yeah.
And then you're saying you can't handle it,
Starting today.
because clearly you can't handle it because the Lord put
That's
you through
fear.
it. You know,
There's
but that's
fear.
still gonna weigh you down. They're still gonna be like, damn, I'm dying next Friday. I'm really dying tomorrow. I'm really dying next week.
Drinking wine, he was
Yeah.
crying blood,
Yeah,
That
or
shows
sweating blood. It was.
that was a lot.
That shows that we're joint heirs, because we weren't told the exact same thing, but we were told, look, there might come a day when you have to lose your head.
But
Yeah.
it's one and done.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
We
but-
see the future
yeah.
after.
No, we got it way easier than Yahweh Shai had.
Yeah,
For sure.
But even him, Yahweh Shai, is one and done.
yeah.
Hebrews
He's
12.
forever
He
going
had-
to be on the.
Yeah.
He had to do that one time, and that's why.
Mhm.
And now what Jake is trying to do is pretty much put him back on the cross
Yeah,
through their dumbass ways.
Yeah.
They want to put the Lord back on the cross. Oh yeah, he died with my sins. No, that was only one time that happened.
yeah,
Said, author
So-
and finisher of our faith.
Yeah, so you either get it right now,
They say
or
he's still
you don't
running.
get it at all.
yeah,
Nigga, you're done.
yeah.
Then you also got the Jake that are just kind of in a fuck it, I'll do what I want because I'm an Israelite and I'm going to make it at the end of the day.
Yeah.
That's not the spirit
I'll
of
take
me.
it. Man.
Yeah, I'll take a nuke. First of
My
all,
cousin told me this.
wait,
My
wait.
brother told me that.
You don't know how, you want to know, man, your death is going to be excruciating. if
You ain't
you're
even
in
gonna get
that
no fucking
mindset.
nuke.
Yeah,
Right.
Most High gonna take your ass all through the ringer, man.
yeah.
Man.
That
And
Luke,
again,
that Luke 12.
but that's real quick. Psalms 34 and 11, I think.
Oh yeah. Get these scriptures.
Well, can I still?
Psalms 34 and
'Cause
11.
it came
You got
back.
something?
Yeah, because it passed at the time, but it came back.
Yeah, go ahead. And
He-
then hold that Psalms 34. Go ahead.
Hebrews chapter 10, verse 31.
Yeah.
It is a
There you
fearful
go.
thing to fall into the hands of the living God.
That's plain.
The
It's a
living God.
fearful thing to fall into the hands of living power. Okay? If you fall into the hands of Yahweh Shemel Shai, hey, ain't shit nobody can do about you. But the thing is, that's why the elect is so blessed, because Yahushua said, none shall pluck them out of my hand.
Oh, yep.
You see? So this is a predestination. You can't, the elect can't change, and you can't change the elect.
That Romans 8,
Yeah.
31 on down. Who shall separate me from the love of the Most High?
There
And
you
it
go,
labels, it labels everything from top to bottom, from persecution to death to famine to
Angels, all that.
Who's gonna who's gonna stop? Who's gonna stop me?
Right. and the answer is nobody, man. So it's not a possible thing.
God damn.
Okay? But if you fall into the hands of Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai, hey, I can't even say good luck. Nigga, you're doomed.
Yeah, you're done.
Ain't no luck.
Yeah, right. No, because that ain't even a thing, man. Phone chime.
Yeah, the phone had chime on that.
That's
Okay?
why.
What's that, what does it say? Damn. I can't remember. Go ahead.
So that's why predestination is a beautiful but terrifying thing.
Yes.
Because either you're guaranteed to get saved or you're guaranteed to be destroyed.
That's
You
the
can go
scary
to
scary.
camp. You can go to camp for 20 years and be doomed,
Yeah.
and you don't know.
Yeah.
You can go to camp for 3 months, be saved.
Yeah.
You might not go to camp at all and get saved.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But you're not going to be in that spirit.
Right, and that's the thing. And the thing is too, if the truth is presented to you, which some will still come in the latter times, but you don't want to carry with that mindset of,
Johnny come late.
well, it ain't really for me right now. Well, it should be, nigga.
You actually have people do that.
You know, now if some of them individuals, they very well may come back in the latter times, you know, see the miracles and then be fully persuaded.
Yeah.
But you don't want to ride with that.
Yeah.
You know.
Romans chapter 9, verse 15, where he saith to Moses, I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy,
Yep.
and I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion.
It's all up to the Most High at the end of the day.
There's
The Heavenly
nothing you
Father is going to control exactly who He's going to have mercy on and who He's not going to have mercy on. That's why we're not going to be justified by our works. We're going to be justified through our faith. There ain't any amount of videos or amount of camps that you go to or amount of anything that you do pertaining to Yahweh Bashim Shai that is going to stamp your way here in here. It's fully based on if you were predestined to make it or not.
Yeah.
Now, the elect are going to, when you read the scriptures, the elect are going to be serving the Lord and doing these things in the latter times.
Yeah.
That's why it says, make your calling and election sure. You know? That doesn't mean that you just sit around and don't do shit. If you sitting around and
you
ain't
got part
doing
of the elect.
exactly, yeah. If you sitting around and ain't
You're a
doing
cool
shit,
guy.
yeah, you just
You're
ain't
not
of
a
the
the
elect.
elect.
That nigga ain't of the elect. You know,
Nah.
sick in the mouth, terrible diet. These people aren't gonna make it.
Yeah.
Heathens, they ain't gonna make it for sure.
That's guaranteed.
Okay? Yeah, ain't no ifs, ands, or buts
Well, I
about that.
believe. Well, then you're not a heathen.
Yeah.
But, you know, hey, we make our call in the election sure, but even then, we still have to hope. We still have to pray that that's enough for the Lord.
But that's what the
And yeah, don't get comfortable. Don't think that I've done enough for the Lord.
No,
You can always do more.
Yep.
You can always do more. More can always be done.
You don't know what the mark is.
Is that right?
Not the. I'm saying, you know, like
The standard.
there's even like at Electrolux.
Yes. Yeah. There you go.
Well,
yeah,
not
press
no,
towards
because
the
that
mark.
was a shift. But there's certain jobs where you get done when the production is over.
yeah.
And you don't know when it is, and they say, all right, that's it for today.
Yeah, they don't tell you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, they don't
They don't
tell
come.
you.
We gonna do 800 today. No, you don't know.
But if you start bullshitting, you get lazy. It's like, bro, you got 5 hours left. You,
You
don't
make-
even realize it.
You making the shift longer. Now you got overtime. And that's why we,
Door on the end.
as brothers, we got to tap in. You know, the Most High is he has this thing going, and ultimately he's giving brothers time to change, man. So we got to look at these things like the prophecies are coming fast, but we still have time to make the proper accommodations and adjustments that need to be done. Because realistically, if you can't say if the Lord was to come back in 5 minutes, would you be ready? Hey, a lot of us might
Stop
not.
that shit.
You know, yeah, they fighting and shit.
Stop that shit.
Chill out. But some bros may be like, man, shit, I don't know. But we gotta be solid with that.
You gotta be rooted.
Yeah, rooted.
Because Elder Yashawama did a video I watched this morning, and I think at the very beginning he was talking about how everything's going down. He said there ain't no turning back. Don't start getting scared now. Don't start Like, nah, because.
Shouldn't have came.
Increase your fear in the Lord if you're gonna get scared.
But I'm saying in the sense of
But
like,
no,
because
I'm
Esau,
saying,
he's speaking in the sense of Esau's finna come through with that
Yeah,
wrath.
yeah.
Don't get scared now.
Yeah. No, yeah, I'm saying, yeah. I was adding to your point, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, if you gonna increase in fear of the Lord, because shit, that shit, like, the Lord's serious.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. But yeah, nah, Esau doesn't have a say so in this. Esau doesn't have a say so in any of this, man. He's just a puppet. He's just the tool that the Most High is using. Yeah. And pretty soon it's about to get rid of himself. You got some?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Get that Psalms real quick if you got it. 34. Yeah.
Psalms 34 and 11. It says, "Come ye children, hearken unto me. I will teach you to fear the Lord."
Right. Come ye children, hearken unto me. I will teach you to fear the Lord. And we're seeing that take place, man. The Lord is showcasing, hey, this nigga, you better fear me. Alright, what's that who should not be beaten to powder?
Yeah.
And then the Apocrypha.
Is that Apocrypha? Yeah.
Yeah, real quick, if we can get that. You know, the Lord shall threaten. 2nd Ezra 16 and 11, I think. Okay. 2nd Ezra 16 and 11. It's either 10 or 11, but I think it's 11.
Yeah. 2nd Ezra 16.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start at 8.
Yeah, come.
It says, "The mighty Lord sendeth the plagues, and who is he that can drive them away?"
Right, who is he that can drive them away?
Y'all niggas,
You know.
the whole fucking area do that bullshit.
Right.
I'm sorry, that's just
Nah,
pissing
you
me
good.
off.
No,
But
they told them they can't. They got.
Oh, good. Okay.
Joe pointed out right on that sign, said no tricks.
That's what they were about to do.
And now the merch is on.
Good.
Now they hurt.
Good. It says, "A fire shall go forth from his wrath, and who is he that may quench it?"
yeah.
It
Who
says-
is he that may quench it? What it say? A fire shall go forth from his wrath. And see, the thing is, you can't quench the wrath of the Heavenly Father. Real quick, to back him up, Amos, or no, what is it?
Run from
Shit.
the Lord, can't run from the Lord.
No, it speaks about the wrath of the Lord. Let me see.
But you
It's a scripture. I don't think it. I'm trying to.
have to be me. You said can't escape? Is that what you said?
That's what I was thinking that he wanted to aim his mind.
9 and 8. 9 and 8. 9 and 8.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. His eyes upon the sinful kingdom, he'll destroy it.
The train went away.
Which we know is talking about the nation of Israel.
Can I go down to 10?
Yeah, real quick.
You see everybody else over here on skateboards. You got
I stay at home.
bro, chill, bro. Let that fucking leg heal.
My thing is, nigga, go to the skate park.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we got one.
They want to see
Got
cool
two
clips.
That's fine. Go to the skate park.
Amos chapter 9, verse 8 to 10. Behold, the eyes of the Lord God are upon the sinful kingdom, and I will destroy it from off the face of the earth,
Yep.
saving that I will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob, saith the Lord.
Right. So the eyes of the Lord are upon this sinful kingdom. And it says he's going to destroy it from off the face of the earth. Okay? So there's nobody that's going to turn away the wrath of the Heavenly Father or to make him change his mind. You know what? Never mind. I ain't going to destroy Babylon. No. This shit is set.
And
Go ahead.
in context, it's talking about Israel.
Right. Yeah.
Talking about the Israelites, and that's proven in verse 10, because which we know there's a lot of Israelites that live here in Babylon. That's where we get the 2/3 of Zechariah 13.
Yeah.
2/3 is not in Asia. 2/3 is just strictly America.
Majority of Jake.
But don't think, well, damn, I'm cool then. No, because it says
That's
the rebels
that,
will be purged out.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it.
Ezekiel.
Yep.
So you're going to get put on the chopping block too, all the same.
Yep, because when Jerusalem come out from heaven and start the
fucking body
invasion,
your ass.
you're gonna be through.
Yeah.
But then there's also going to be a remnant, because the 1/3 is in America, but there's a remnant across the globe that's going to get saved as
There's
well.
elect across the globe.
Yeah, the
brothers in
144,000.
Europe?
Yeah.
You know, Australia and things
Yeah,
like
we've been again scattered.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
we gotta keep saying it.
that.
So it kind of reminds me of like how countries have like embassies. You know, because basically we're starting, you know, to bring our country back together, and we got the government all over the earth, and we got embassies, we got brothers all over the earth in different areas.
Yeah.
You know, which is camps, kind of like military bases.
Yeah.
And pretty soon we're waiting for, you know, reinforcements. Our Lord Yahweh Shai to come back, and you're gonna be bodied.
Yep.
It's gonna be a wrap,
16.
because you ain't gonna be able to do nothing against it. You can't even do. The scriptures talk about how you can't even do nothing against Leviathan. He gonna laugh because you gonna be scared, shaking your spear and shit like a bitch.
Them shit's gonna bounce off his body. Them bullets and missiles.
And that's not the strongest thing the Lord got.
No. The strongest thing the Lord got is Yahweh Shai.
Yeah, Yahweh Shai.
And you damn sure ain't doing that. Yeah. That shit ain't gonna get in his presence. Try to shoot something to get at the Lord.
Revelation 19.
And he gonna fire! Boom! As soon as you click before you click the trigger, your house shot gonna pop it right in your damn face. Nigga.
You see what the chariot did?
You're done, yes.
Yeah, with the missiles.
Yeah, missile,
what
yeah.
Elder Kazak went into. Yep. They
Man,
fell they disarmed from the sky.
These people don't stand a goddamn chance, man.
That's why we don't need to be worried.
And that's why we're not worried.
Yeah.
We're not worried at all, and you shouldn't be. If you are worried, you need to increase in your faith.
Yeah.
Because we're telling you, Yahweh Shai is going to return, and he's going to restore this for us, man.
Yeah.
We don't have to do anything but believe.
Yeah.
If you believe that Yahweh Shai is Lord and he's King of Kings, Lord of Lords, that is it.
Yeah.
That grain of a mustard seed. That's all you need.
And that's how a lot of
Don't stand on that.
Yeah.
You know, build upon that mustard seed, but that's all. Yeah, exactly. It's supposed to grow.
Yeah.
But that's all you need for the Lord to be dealing with you. You believe that Yahweh Bashim Shai is gonna fuck this place up and put you up? Hey, you good, bro.
Yeah.
You know? And how do you show that belief? By going out and doing some works, man. You know, doing your videos, and if you're part of a camp, doing what the hell the leadership is saying. A lot of brothers be bullshitting and going off on shit that is really simple. It's really simple, man. If you believe these to be men of the Lord, they're not telling you things for no fucking reason. Stop fucking going to that goddamn club, nigga. You need to stop. Stop dealing with that bitch. You need to stop. Stop eating so damn much. You need to stop. Take your ass to do this. Go do something productive. Brothers are telling you things for a reason. We're not wasting our fucking breath. We're not just because we're bored. I don't wake up, you know what? I'm bored. I'm gonna tell the Akim to do something. Just because. No. If it's necessary, hey brothers, I think we should be going and doing this and doing that. It's for growth.
For benefit.
And a lot of times you've been through it before, you know.
Yeah.
You don't say it just because you've been through that.
It's experience.
Before, yeah.
That's what the apostle.
I done went through this shit before. I don't want to see you go through it.
Yeah.
Don't get the arguing with this. No, man. Just leave that shit alone, bro. And that's the importance of also too what? Seeking counsel. Seek counsel, man.
Ask questions
for the brothers, because right now this is a close knit thing. These niggas they ain't listening and they don't give a fuck. So fuck them. You know, we don't care about them either. But for the brothers that are sincere, seek counsel, man. Don't go and do some shit without asking brothers, man. That don't mean that bros are lording over you and controlling your life. No.
It's advice.
Exactly. Ask a brother, hey bro, I'm thinking about doing this. If you're thinking about switching the job, you're thinking about switching the house, a car, or whatever, ask a brother, man.
Don't act like you're too good either. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm trying to handle my own. I don't want to be a burden, bro.
Damn, nigga.
That burden shit is getting played out because you can't be a burden. You can't be a burden if you don't do nothing.
Yeah. But yeah, nah, man. You know, seek the counsel, man. Counsel is the best thing that you can do. You know, in all things, man, seek counsel, because that's gonna put you in a very good standing. Because you rather be safe than sorry. Ultimately, it's like you, brother.
No, I got one for you.
Yeah, come.
Sirach 37:16.
Yeah.
Let reason go before every enterprise and counsel before every action.
Yeah, read that again.
Sirach 37:16, which a brother
To the bathroom.
Yeah,
a quick thing. A brother mentioned that his camp, I believe it was Iowa, they called us the Book of Mannerisms, which deals with etiquette, conduct.
Yeah.
The Book of Sirach. So if you want to know how to move in the earth,
That's
a big book is
Yeah.
Sirach.
Yeah.
And it says, Sirach 37:16, Let reason go before every enterprise and counsel before every action.
Yeah, let reason go before every enterprise. Can you get that word for enterprise? What does that mean?
What do you want?
Just add him on. He still didn't give me. We have.
Shit on
Google.
it. And that is with a Z too.
Yeah.
But see, that's the old English, I guess.
Rent the car.
Yeah, we not. Yeah.
see what it says.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do
So enterprise, because it said,
that. Yeah, you do that.
Sirach 37:16, let reason, which I believe is thought process,
Yeah.
understanding,
Right.
go before every enterprise and counsel before every action.
Right.
Enter.
That shit.
Enterprise on Google, it says a project or undertaking, typically one that is difficult or requires effort.
Right. Requires it. So.
It says
let reason-
activity.
Yeah. Activity. So let reason go
Think.
before every activity.
I'll get reason.
That's why you supposed to really think before you make certain actions and make certain judgments. Again, the brother mentioned it earlier, we're judges. So everything required, Yahweh says it all the time, everything requires a judgment. Should I cross the street right now? That's a judgment.
Should I call out?
Yeah, should I call out? So you have to think about these things. So go and seek counsel. Like I said, again, when brothers aren't lording over, bros and shit. I need to know what color, drawers you put on today.
Because you still got a life to
Yeah,
live.
it's weird.
You still got a life to live, but at the same time, we're serving the Lord.
Right. And we have to understand that everything links to the ministry.
Yeah.
You can't be out here doing heinous ass shit because it's going to get linked back to the ministry. If you're part of a camp and you get into some off-branded trouble doing God knows what, and you calling a brother on a collect call, hey brother, my bond is $1,200. Can y'all brothers come get me? What the fuck did you do?
Yeah.
And then we got to deal with that and all this other shit.
Yeah.
My baby mama kicked me out. We told you not to live with that bitch.
Yeah. So we have to move in.
You didn't seek counsel, and then even if you did, you didn't take heed to it.
Yeah.
That's another thing. Stop asking brothers for counsel and then do the opposite, man.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
That's fucking stupid.
You might as well just not ask for the advice.
Exactly.
Just keep it to yourself.
Just go and, which I'm not saying to actually go and do what the fuck you want, but that's essentially what you should do.
Yeah.
Don't come to me and ask me, hey brother, I think, what you think? Should I do this? Nah, bro, that ain't it. Con, the water. And then you go do it. Nigga, what the fuck?
Now you got arrested. Now you this. Now
Why
you
the
behind.
fuck you ask me, man?
Yeah. Now you don't got no job. Now you this.
Because now we still got to deal with it.
Yeah.
Go ahead, bro.
And I'll say, speaking off of, not in a boasting way, but off of personal experience, unless you're like the head of the camp or even the second, counsel really doesn't even need to be all the time because your life should be simple.
Yeah.
Right.
You shouldn't have all this extraordinary shit going on to
Right.
where you have to call somebody every damn day about what to do.
You should know what
Why
to-
aren't you at the house after work? Just go home. I don't need to call a brother and ask what I need for dinner.
Should I eat
I
chicken?
go to work, I go home, I'm at the house. I might go out to a store if I need something real quick, and I come back and I'm at the house. I don't need to ask nobody shit because my life is simple
Yeah.
and plain and
I-
yes, boring.
Can I eat
Our
rice
lives
out?
are boring. It's not. We're not going out and partying all that shit. Fuck all that, man.
And it's like you said. if
But even then, you still seek counsel. But
Yeah.
I'm saying if you live a simple life, you don't.
it's not as much
You're
to,
not-
ask
Yeah.
about.
Because having a life that's complicated, you're gonna become a burden to a brother.
Yeah.
Like,
Like,
damn, why
goddamn,
the fuck he
this-
ask me this shit every day? I ain't gonna help you out, but it's like, bro, just sit the fuck down.
And again, too, like I said, once you get that counsel, man, make those changes.
The answer a lot of times be
Because
right in front of you.
otherwise, it's going to be counsel at the counsel at the counsel. It's like, brother, we just talked about
A lot of
this.
times, the counsel, the answers you get is not what you wanted to
No.
hear, but it's what you needed to hear.
Yeah, but Jake be wanting to hear shit.
That's not.
When you be like, Con, I can do that.
Yeah, no, hell no, that's stupid.
Yeah, no.
I'm quick to tell a brother, shit,
No,
fuck
no, you call me. He'll,
Yeah.
sometimes you call me like this. Like I can't say it on the camera, but he'd be like, "All right, Doc, you want?"
Yeah, hey.
It's like, yeah, that's not really that's not a good idea.
I'll tell
That's
brother
not really a
quick.
good idea.
I tell brother quick, hey. I tell brother quick, I wouldn't do
Yeah, I
it,
would. Yeah.
but that's you, brother. Off
Maybe
rip.
you think that's gonna work?
Hey, if you think that's the best move, brother, but I challenge Akim to think.
Yeah.
And going back to that scripture, for what it say, reason for every, read it again.
Fuck. You know what? Never mind. No.
Real quick.
Sirach 37:16. Let reason go before every enterprise
No, you're right.
and
Go ahead.
and counsel before every action.
Right, let reason go before every enterprise. So reason, think,
Oh shit! I had the word for reason.
you know? And we're getting close to the end. Bro's got to start thinking, man.
Yeah.
Hey, Akim, what's the answer? Nigga, look it up. Or did you think before you just went to the chat? Figure it out. We grown men.
What we be saying? You call every brother got a tablet or a computer in their back pocket.
Computer in their damn pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
Reason on the Edamon. It says the meaning, sanity, degree of intelligence that distinguishes men from brutes.
Yeah. So you need reasoning, man. You need to be distinguished from the
You
brutes.
don't need to have two thoughts a day.
Yeah.
Like
That one thought a day. You know?
And ultimately, like I said, and Apostle Gabar pushes it heavily. Keep this truth simple. Keep your life simple. Keep this truth simple. Don't burn yourself out. Don't do all this extraordinary shit that can mess up the ministry, which that's in the scriptures. Was it 2 Corinthians 6:2? Don't let the ministry be blamed. I think it's 2 Corinthians 6. I think
Six,
5 or
I
6.
think that's talking about the judgment.
5 or 6. I think
Judges.
one of check real quick, just a fact check. Yeah, we fact check. Don't let the ministry be blamed. Either the first or second, or I think it's chapter 5 or chapter 6.
2 Corinthians 6.
It is 2 Corinthians 6?
Yeah.
Okay, come on.
2 Corinthians, okay.
Yeah. No, I said 2 Corinthians first.
Oh,
6 and what?
3.
3?
3 through 6.
I was thinking,
okay.
what's 2? I was thinking of
2 and 2. 2 Corinthians 2.
No, 6 and 1 is what's that about the judges? I think. Let not
Isn't the judgment seat? No.
hold on, Salaki.
So it's on 2 Corinthians 6 and 1 through 2.
Oh no, I'm thinking of a whole nother scripture. Salaki, go ahead.
Read that scripture real quick.
go ahead. Get
Go ahead
that
and read it since we brought
It
it up.
says 2 Corinthians 6 and 3, give no offense to anything, that the ministry be not blamed.
Yeah, so don't put yourself in a deep water that can involve on top of that the ministry. You know, like I said, constantly getting locked up. Now, certain things happen where you can get wrongfully put in a situation wrongfully. That does happen, but like I said, you at the bar getting drunk, beating up Edomites, or fighting people, assault. You over here spray painting and throwing rocks at your baby mama car because she fucked up another dude or some shit. No.
Fringes on.
Yeah, you got a friend. You're doing all that with fringes on. That's the ministry being blamed. Now you're a black Hebrew Israelite nigga, and now there's more ammo for Esau. He's rubbing his hands together like Birdman. I got a plot on you niggas. Look at Bo. Now here come vocab. You know, be mindful when you're out here in your day-to-day lifestyle. You know, don't be OR. Don't be doing too much. Don't do too little. Don't do too much. A false balance is an abomination to the Lord. That's Proverbs 11. You just understand what time you're in. A lot of men are starting to fail and not realize that, bro, they are about to use every little bit of evidence to blame the ministry. And look at AI. AI can make us look crazy as hell. Because look what they're doing with Jake. I mentioned it earlier. They got Jake now, the mukbanging and Eve with a bonnet on. They're mastering you niggas. They're mastering us. So you don't want to give him more and more ammo. He already has a clip. Don't give him another one.
Don't give them no incendiary rounds.
Yeah.
What's that? Give no something to the devil.
Give no place.
Give no place to the devil. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that goes into anger.
Yeah.
The scriptures say be angry but
mindful.
sin not.
Yeah.
You can be upset.
That's when you're gonna make a lot of mistakes when you're angry.
Yeah.
You make a lot of emotional decisions out of anger.
Yeah.
And again, from personal experience, others than been there, done that.
Yeah.
That's why we tell you.
Don't do
Hey,
that.
man, just leave the crib, bro.
Yeah.
If Keisha bugging, just leave, bro.
Just leave.
Don't do no crazy shit. You know, don't be a lion and all.
Sit in your car, get a
You
hotel,
actually
call
thought
brothers.
about it. Would you have punched a hole in your wall?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, not like I would have, but I'm saying
No,
like
yeah.
think about
Yeah,
that
but
shit
you were
before
angry.
you know. Come. Wait, 10% or
10 minutes.
Oh, okay,
I got something.
Go ahead.
Oh, damn.
That was it on that scripture though?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Ephesians 5 and 15. See then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time because the days are evil.
The days are evil. We're into some very evil times. So going to work and going home needs to be your best bet, man. Okay? Okay, good. Okay, come on. But yeah, that's your best bet, man. Okay? If you can, tell Keisha to come to the crib. You know? If you can, because people are getting caught up, man. Good, Malachi, you said in the chat yesterday about this Edomite ran around spreading AIDS to over 600 black women. HIV, AIDS, it was both.
That was,
It's an old post.
But back in 2020, things happening back then. Now,
it's worse now.
Yeah, and it's worse now. It might be not. It might be 900.
4 or 5 years of evolvement.
It might be 900 so-called black women. You know. Just,
How did he spread it?
Yeah, how did he?
I didn't.
No, it's not in the sense of. No, I get what you're asking, but you're like how crazy is that's how crazy it is.
How did he spread it?
How did he do that?
I guess he was knocking bitches
Just
down.
knocking. He was just that.
Yeah, he was just knocking them
Yeah,
down.
he was probably a rich Edomite, and you know he's so-called white. He's in the earth. You know, Eve sees the white man as power, so she's gonna let him. He probably persuaded him. I'll give you some money. You know, it can go down many ways, but the point I'm making is people are getting shot. People are emotional.
The dude with the animals.
Yeah, the dude with the animals. Okay, you got people fighting with their landlords and neighbors over just certain loud. I see the video of this one dude. Well, he handled it, you know, decently. But you got Karens knocking on Jake's doors because they live upstairs or downstairs. You're too loud stomping. You know, which you can't avoid that because that's how apartments are. You can't avoid that. But yeah, but that's why it's off. But speak people a certain way to dire your situation. Because you're going to catch hell, you're going to deal with things and deal with people in the earth. But you don't want to give too much on the plate. The scriptures say, what does it say? Be wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove. Jake don't need to be fighting. You at the job fighting people. And you know, because they made you mad, you're dealing with a terrible customer. What they say? What's the word they say in the word? Kill them with kindness?
Step outside, bro.
Soft answer turned away wrath.
Yeah, the scriptures say a soft answer returned away wrath.
Spit on the
So I had
fire.
a scripture too.
Go ahead.
Because the Lord didn't tell us the prophecies for us to just teach them and that's it. If you know what's going to happen, you need to prepare for that.
Yeah.
So what I'm about to bring out shows that people are going to be more demonic, more evil, more quick to fight, to shoot.
More emotional.
So that means you need to be the opposite.
Yeah.
If you know that people are quick to pull out a switch, well, I'm going to make sure that I say, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I apologize. Excuse me.
Maybe sometimes you just want to hear that. Some people just want to hear, I'm sorry, man. Take the low, as Apostle Gabar says. It's okay to take the low.
Take the low so you don't get buried 6 feet under the fucking ground.
Yeah, to prove yourself.
Because you're going to be lower than what you were now.
Either take the low or be low.
Yeah.
Take the low or get put low, man.
Matthew 24 and 13. It's in red. Or no, Salakia. Matthew 24 and 12. This is also in red. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold.
Yeah, so that's an example of waxing cold. Okay, that's waxing cold. People and the way that the judgments that they make, their lifestyles was waxing worse and worse. Men and women gender wars, that's getting worse. Relationships are getting worse. People are fighting amongst their own houses, their own households. Okay, the food quality. We gotta adapt. We have to move a certain way, because the scriptures say a wise man hideth himself with prudence. Okay, foreseeth the evil and hide himself. You know, we're in the background, man. We're not here to be in the limelight. We're not here to be Israelite superstars. We're not here to cut every Edomite that come up. We don't give a fuck about these Edomites. Now, obviously, for edification's sake, if they stop, you know, we got to correct them on certain matters. But that's not what we're here for. Fighting at camp. Niggas be fighting at camp. Getting arrested, you know, willfully.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm talking, we're saying this is a willfully, because as brothers get arrested, the apostles and elders got accused for things they never did, but they didn't do it willfully. They were just teaching. And that was just something they had to go through. But don't give these devils more ammunition than what they got. I'm not hitting that Edomite with the crop top. I'm not doing it. I want to, but I can't. Okay? The scriptures say you gotta obey the laws of the land. Yeah, that was bad. obey the laws of the land, man. Okay? Make sure you got a license.
Which that's, because I guarantee you somebody's going to try to use that to say, take the C hip.
No.
And that's where, because when the laws contradict the Lord's laws,
Right.
that's what's like, okay, that's enough.
That's when you cut it off.
Yeah, that's where it's over with, man.
Like, even now with dietary,
Yeah.
you know, you ain't got to eat no pork, nigga.
Yeah.
You don't have to. It's not a, you know,
No.
ain't even no Babylonian law the way you gotta do.
If all they're serving is pork, you just don't eat.
Just don't go there.
Don't go there. Go somewhere else. Make your own food. You got options. What they be saying? You got options. You have options, bro. Jake be acting like they don't got options. They be so obligated to do certain things. Stop. You know, the Lord is gonna find a true servant of the Lord is gonna find a way. The Lord is gonna put you in a path. Scripture say, "Enter ye the straight gate." If you enter the straight gate and you stay on that path, that broad path, that straight way, the Lord is gonna look out for you, man.
They told Daniel, with the Israelites, not to pray to the Most High, and he still did it, and he got caught, and he got put in the lion's den. But he trusted in the Lord.
Yeah, because then they had to worship
That idol.
the idol.
Yeah.
And his 3 friends didn't bow down to that. Best believe he didn't either. But he was probably in a different area or whatever at the time. But his 3 friends said, "Man, we ain't doing that."
Yeah.
And the dudes that were going to throw them in there died.
Yeah, they died.
You fucking died. You gotta trust in the Lord, man. When it gets uncomfortable and the Lord tells you to do something, Esau tells you to do something else, you do what the Lord said.
Yeah.
Because he's gonna get you out of that judgment that Esau is trying to put you in.
What Apostle Peter? Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that the 7 holy children.
Yeah.
And, their mother.
Mm-hmm.
They showed that They showed that Antiochus was a bitch.
Yeah.
How the hell you getting your limbs cut off and your tongue ripped out, being put in a pot, boiled, and they still laughing at your dumb ass?
Damn.
Because you're weak. And they know that. And they know that when that time comes, they're gonna get you.
Yeah. What Apostle Peter say? We're off to obey the Most High rather than men.
Yeah.
You're following after men if you care about what Esau says and thinks.
That's why we gonna. That's why, like you said, we know the end all be all.
Yeah.
That's the comfort in the scriptures. We know that when it's all said and done, the elect, are going to be the first ones that's going to be able to extract revenge on the heathen.
Yeah.
And it's all temporary, so we don't really give a fuck. You can torture us, you can do whatever you want. You can say you can't do this, or you ain't got no chip, or you can't eat. Nigga, I will eat.
Yeah.
Because the Lord is going to provide food for me.
Yeah, that's scripture.
I'm already eating.
And yeah, I've already ate.
Yeah.
Matthew
The
4.
bread, we've already ate the whole roll.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't need your funky ass Doritos, nigga.
Yeah.
Okay? We're not gonna be relying upon Esau in that day. We're not relying upon this nigga now.
That's why we fast.
It's contrary to that bitch ass nigga in the IUIC. How can you hate him? You go there for the one of all things. You a whole ass nigga, man.
Yes.
And the Most High is gonna destroy you and everybody else in that congregation, at least you repent.
Oh.
The Most High is gonna destroy the IUIC. He's gonna mop them niggas. He's gonna mop the floor with them niggas, man.
And
Watch what we say.
Any other Israelite camps that are on bullshit.
Exactly. The IUIC, the ISUPK, Sakari, okay, HOI, GOCC, them niggas ain't even relevant anymore, actually. Genesis. Yeah, at that point, they're really just a black church. The GOCC is just a black church, man. They don't have no goddamn, there's no cojones in them, man. They ain't out here doing shit. But the Most High is definitely going to deal with the
Chief
IUIC.
Ephraim, he back on the scene.
Yeah, that nigga, he needs to go back off the scene. Sit your ass down and shut the fuck up.
Over here bugging out. You're over here bugging about the chip. Look, if you don't believe that the RFID microchip is the mark of the beast, the Lord is. You're not of the elect. You're not of the elect. Point blank. Period.
Who's going to the state?
You're not of the elect, bro. Point blank. Period. Because the elect they're gonna believe the chip. That's the ultimate prophecy. That's one of the top 3 major prophecies showing a key sign that this place is going out. How the hell you not gonna believe them? One of the major prophecies. That don't make no fucking sense. But you're gonna believe everything else, but not the chip. You're gonna believe everything else, but not World War III. What type of shit is that?
But Revelation 19 and 10, the spirit of Yahushua is not with them.
Yeah.
Yahushua is not dealing with them because they weren't given the spirit of prophecy.
Yeah.
To teach and preach Yahushua is to prophecy.
And if it didn't matter, then why are we prophesying? To say before, why we have to do this then if it don't matter? If it don't matter, why are we doing it?
They lose. At the end of the day, you guys are getting ready to lose, man. End all be all, you are getting ready to lose. Okay? You got something?
Matthew.
Oh yeah, come. Brothers, got anything else? Yeah, come. Go ahead.
Matthew chapter 4, verse 17. From that time, Yahushua began to preach and to say, repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand.
Yep, repent, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Okay, as the brother says all the time, that's the message. Okay, that's what we come out here to do. Again, you so-called blacks, Native American Latinos. Okay, you are the Israelites according to the Bible. It's high time to wake out of sleep, and it's time to repent to Yahweh Shema Shai, man.
Yep.
And for the brothers that's in the knowledge and you few sisters, let's continue to grow. Let's continue to get better.
Mm-hmm.
All right, every day that we wake up is another day to worship Yahweh Shema Shai. Okay? So, Lord willing, hey, this camp was edifying. We're going to go ahead and close it out. Before we close, we're going to give all praise, honor, glory
To Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem HaKadosh.
and double honors once again, as always, and to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who knew well and taught us this truth. Okay, the true leaders of Israel today, whether you receive it or not. Peace, much love, and salutations always to those who elect. Hey, to the next lesson. Shalom.
Shalom.